in my vision of change, third parties in America, it's hard for us to win, but we need to focus on taking care of our material needs while building up a anti-war movement, an anti-capitalist movement, a proletariat movement. So we need to focus on mutual aid. That is what Rome is doing with Tour for the Poor. That is what we're doing, launching RBN chapters all over this country, so we can separate ourselves from the capitalist system. Once we separate ourselves from the capitalist system by building mutual aid societies, we show up and build those mutual aid societies via third party. So when we do our food drives, whenever we show up and help people, we're letting people know that we showed up. You have a mutual aid party that show up, that are taking care of the people while the politicians is abandoning us. We build this movement, we get on the debate stage. All we need is 5%. And a lot of people don't know that 5% in the third party gets you federal funding. 15% puts you on a national debate stage. Now, remember, 3% is all you really need historically to have massive social change. And then a lot of people, like, if you shut stuff down via general strike, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, just give them what they want, right? So you just need to build that momentum. If we had a third party to get 5% federal funding, running on popular ideas, economic populism while ending the war, that coalition is already here. We just need to put it together. Then if we get to 15%, we're talking about a real game changer where we had a third party candidate. What I would like to see a populist, anti-war third party candidate calling out neocons on both sides. And if you got 15% of the population, enough to get you on the debate stage, you're talking about serious coalition building power that the establishment have to acknowledge. And if they don't acknowledge and they continue to fight us and be anti-democratic, then we talk about general strikes. Then we talk about shutting society down. This is when we get into the topic that the boutique managerial class, a lot of people who are comfortable, they don't want to have the discussion because they don't want society shut down. But that is what we must do. And with the population and with the populace on our side, this is how you enact change. Now, George, everything I just described to you, this is a long process. Like, it's not easy. It takes a lot of revolutionary discipline, but that's why we need to get started right now. Right now.
Welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's popping, my friend, my family? We are back. Nick and CJ, Thursday live. Yesterday was a great day. It was a crazy day. Having a conversation with George Galloway. Then Jimmy texted me while I was on the show, so I joined Jimmy as well. And I'm glad that while I had that audience, I had the opportunity to break that down. So that just shows the high quality interviewer that George is, because he heard what I was saying. He's like, damn, this shit's depressing. Hey, Nick, what's the solution? And that's a great question, because when you look at a lot of people who are weak critics of RBNs, they will say, well, RBN, yeah, they're good at pointing out the problem, but where are their solutions? And those are people who never watch our network, because who else talk about solutions more than we do on our channel? We are a solutions-led network and channel, and we use education to radicalize people and educate people so they can get to the point where we are at right now. So people use their undiscipline, the fact that they are uneducated, to justify incrementalism and justify neoliberalism. That is because they've been brainwashed by our system. So anyone who give me a platform, I'm gonna use that opportunity to shift the Overton window to our side on the left, because I am a chaos agent of the Overton window. And it's good because I seen good reception, because I don't hold back. I was calling out capitalism on both Jimmy and George's show. And what I like, CJ, and I'll pass it back to you, is the people I saw that was like, yeah, I don't agree with everything Nick said, but I like his thought process. I like I at least understand where he's coming from. It's like these people who are like, they hear my anti-capitalist rhetoric and they initially repel because that's what they trained to do. But unlike the response to like a Democrat or a liberal, where they're like, oh, this dude is bad faith, they're evil. They don't have that response. They're like, all right, I might not agree with this person, but I at least know he's a good faith actor. And that's how you introduce the seed to shift people further to your side. It was a fun day. I got a lot to say about it, but CJ.
No, that was a perfect like encapsulation of our theory of change. And it's just it's very broad. It has a lot of detail that needs to be built in once the movement begins or once the movement kind of
that conversation literally could be 20. Sorry to cut you off, Cedric, but I'll pass it back to you.
No worries. Go ahead.
Conversation literally could be 20 minutes. I knew that my answer had to be like 5 minutes at most, and I already was rambling a lot. That's why George was like, man, we can talk all day, but we got to wrap up. That was like, yeah, I know I talked too damn much. So I had to explain a solution in like 2 to 3 minutes. That is not easy to do, guys. So I was skipping a lot of steps. I was like, there was even a point where you can kind of tell. I was like, I went from one step to the next step. I'm like, damn, I wish I had more time to explain that. I know that seems like a leap, but we have a way there. I just don't have time to explain it. But anyway, I'll pass it back to you, CJ.
No, absolutely correct. Just looking at some of the comments, some great comments already starting us out. We're approaching 180 people, so let's do the announcements. But let's start actually with some of the other topics. Oops.
Yeah, well, I want to say welcome to everyone that's new because I'm hoping that we can get quite a few of them. Welcome, Dank Vader. That's already a powerful name. I'm new. They did a great job on Jimmy and George.
That's the name of a strand called Dank Vader.
Dude, yeah. Our shit is legalized here, fam. It's legalized here. And so like I'm always good on supply, but the difference is the quality. Like when it's legalized, you can have a consistent, because sometimes like you can get good stuff here, but it's very on and off, bro. Like there'll be seasons where like, bro, no one got good stuff. So that's the benefit for me. Like not that in the criminal justice side of it as well. But like, Ben, we can have consistent good shit. Get a name product.
When it's not good, you have to just buy more.
You gotta get lucky, bro. Because I remember beginning of COVID. I remember beginning of COVID. It was rough. And no one had good stuff, and it would happen like we would have like random droughts like that in the Midwest, in the Midwest, in the middle of nowhere. And then someone would get a good shipment in because then like the market was like, damn, there's some good shit. Someone did something good. Anyway, I probably should be talking about this on YouTube, but go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. We're not going to the bank from YouTube. Believe us. So, but let's bring up the graphic to kind of talk about what we're going to be talking about today. There's a lot of stuff. Like as always, we can't fit in everything. We're going to fit in as much as we can. With the election, this is high season for news. So, of course, the headlining story is the squad expands. So they've added more squad members supposedly, and we'll kind of go we'll go step one by one, and then we'll talk about, of course, the interview Nick did on the 2 shows, the MOATS show or MOATS show and the Jimmy Dore show, and then of course we're going to talk about a clip we got, Nick, of Cenk with the other actor in the scene, or one of the other actors in the scene, Matt Gaetz. I'm gonna say this at the beginning.
I give Cenk and Anna props because I wasn't expecting them to go at Matt Gaetz, but man, did that backfire. Man.
Well, this is the thing. I think he only could go after him after it went off the rails.
Yeah, we're gonna explain it. Yeah,
if it kept like, I don't want to give my critique now. All right, so yes, we have hit 25,000. So let's go to that. Let's go to that next. So this is where we were yesterday, Nick. The last time you and I streamed, and let me give the real time up to date.
Let's go
change or update.
Let's go, fam. Let's go, fam.
Yeah, so let's give the actual update. And I just updated this. Let me refresh it just to make sure it's okay. Yeah. All right. So, and now this is where we're at, Nick. So we've hit 25,000. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Nick, this is literally what, a year and 8 months, and we're at 25,000. Our goal is to hit, the hashtag is RBN to 30,000.
That's gonna be clutch, bro. Let's get a shout out to Jimmy and George because we're gonna need the community to come. We need to pull some favors. I mean, we're gonna have some people that come in for us that will get 30K with this algorithm. But we appreciate everyone who's new here. we're gonna have a great show today for sure. But go ahead, CJ. I'll pass it back to you.
Absolutely. So if you're watching this and you're brand new, subscribe. If you think you're subscribed, double check because they do unsubscribe you. Like this video. The last time I checked, we were at 124 likes. I'm sure we have more. We're at 220 viewers. Can we push to 175 likes? That should get a few more people. And also, if you're watching this on replay or you're joining the live late, you can join our Substack. You'll get notifications about 30 minutes to 2 hours before our live streams. You also get notifications of when we go have clips. So if you join our Substack, you get both of those. And we're at updated 140 likes. So we need about 35 more likes, and we'll hit that target of 175. Let's now do some more comments, because some people already was talking about your interview. Like before, of course, we had this one. Nick was great on MOATS. Caught the replay. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, the mother of all.
What did they use? Do they use StreamYard also?
It was Zoom. It was Zoom. I saw that Chris Hedges and Max Blumenthal was gonna be on show. I saw the graphic and I was like, holy shit. That's good. That's one. Imagine following Chris Hedges. That was the job I had. I never thought that I was gonna be in a position where I had to follow Chris Hedges on a live. I was hoping when I saw the graphic, I was like, man, can I be on the same panel with Chris Hedges? That'd be wild. But then I was like, of course, it's a 3-hour show. They had guest slots. So I'm like, man, I had to follow Chris Hedges. So I'm like, man, I had to bring it.
Wow. Wait, so I don't know if we'll ever get to that where we have a setup like that, where we have short intermissions and we have
bro, we celebrate when we get one big guest. Like these other shows, they pull 2 big guests in one show. They're like, it's just another day for us. But anyway, go ahead, CJ.
Yes, tell your boss you need a break to watch RBN. Absolutely. What does this say? Ask Putin for help hitting 30K.
I think that's a joke. I'll take it as a joke.
Yes, I'll take it as a joke too. With the rolling on my, and then this says, I'm glad Jimmy had you on the show. We are too. I'm super subscribed. Thank you for that. Love the love we're getting here. So 30,000 next stop. So, all right. So I think that's enough of the chat. Let's now get into the topic, Nick. Whichever one you want to start with, I'll pass it to you. Let's get into your interviews.
I can do the Eric Adams one if you want. Because I have the segment on Jimmy, but we can cover that later. I want to show you guys this video. I have, and I openly admitted that I have Eric Adams derangement syndrome. The worst of the worst. When I told you guys the Democratic Party is the party of the police state, look at Val Demings, who lost. Who I'm dancing on her grave the same way I would dance on the grave of Marco Rubio, because the Democratic Party, they are obsessed with electing prosecutors, cops. That is the party of the prison industrial complex. That's why it was always absurd that the Republican Party was trying to paint the Democratic Party as the defunded police party, as a quote unquote weak on crime party, even though they are, because their giant police budgets continue to fail. They will say stuff like this, CJ, completely unironically. As they fund the police more. Oh my God, there's a crime wave. This is because of the defunded police movement. Like, guys, you took COVID relief money. Well, my light bulbs went out. You guys took COVID relief money and gave it to the cops. The cops are being funded at an historic rate, and you guys are talking about a crime rate? That's why I'm glad Jimmy had me on. If you check the full live stream out, at the very beginning, we were talking about policing, because Jimmy, I give him props because you're one of the few people who actually talk about policing. Unlike Sam Cedar, who's pro-cop, who said he don't care if the police get more funding. You had Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian, who went straight up hard to the right. That's mother of all talk shows. That's George Calloway's show, by the way. You had Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian that literally sound like Ben Shapiro when it comes to criminal justice. So Jimmy does great segment calling out the police. And I started out the live stream talking about that, because I wanted to bring the issue up. and I explained like if you feel unsafe, and you're gonna see in this segment, I'm gonna show you. This is Eric Adams on my favorite propagandist, Morning Joe Scarborough. I told you guys there are a lot of corporate news I can't stomach, but Joe Scarborough, his propaganda is artistic. Like it's like Morning Joe is literally the show to go if you want to get Empire propaganda. Like wherever the message coming from the Empire, that's the show. And Morning Joe, Joe Scarborough is the best among them all. Meaning, like every sentence he does, every segment he does is filled with propaganda, pro-establishment propaganda. I'll cover this on Twitter. I'm gonna show you guys this later. Joe Scarborough, when he's talking about the results of the midterm elections, he was like, "Yeah, this is because the American people was moved by Paul Pelosi." That's the kind of guy he is. So
that is just ridiculous.
Some people I can't watch. I can't watch the Five, like Janine Pirro. There's some people I can't stand. Like I told you guys,
I can watch her imitation on SNL. I can't watch her though. It's so funny on SNL.
Yeah, I told you guys why I do it. The only reason I do it because I want to be able to show you guys the messaging that comes from the establishment and teach you guys how to counter it as well. This is the part of the propaganda report that we often do. So I'm gonna show you guys this video. I think I prefaced this story enough. Eric Adams on Morning Joe, and this is so absurd. Eric Adams speed running the worst mayor of all time. This guy has been assaulting homeless camps. He's funded the police more, criminalized the subway system, and crime is still up. and things are still shitty in New York. And somehow they managed to blame the left while your neoliberal ass is in power. And watch this. And this is why Morning Joe is. If you want to study propaganda, and I can't stomach a lot of them because there's no point in watching them because they all shitty compared to Morning Joe. Tucker is really good at propaganda. Joe Scarborough is really good, and I think there's a reason why the CNN dude Jake Tapper. There's a reason why he got where he is because they all. I'm not talking about like in terms of intelligence, like the tricks they play. It's high level, and a lot of people fall for it without even realizing they've fallen for it. And when we go through these segments, these like our propaganda report segments, and we've been doing a lot of these recently. And we point these out literally line by line why they're lying to people. And this segment is, I can't pause this, CJ, over and over again. Like, see this fucking the audacity of these people. Listen, I'll preface this way enough already. Let's dive into the segment.
Mr. Mayor, how you doing?
Quite well. Good to see you all this morning.
Good morning. Have you called the governor and congratulated her?
We spoke last night. We communicated. And, happy for her.
Is she going to help you on crime?
Yes. She has been a real partner around these issues around public safety.
So can we talk about how the fact the mainstream media, the Democratic Party, and the Republican Party fearmonger over crime this entire election, and then voters was asked about crime in the exit polls, and like, no, that we didn't care a fuck about that. But they still painting this narrative.
Why is that the first question? Why is that? I mean, because how I translate it is, have your overseer told you about rounding up some more niggas? That's what I hear.
Yes. And
have you talked to your overseer about rounding up some more slaves? Go ahead.
This is the quote unquote. This is what dumb right wingers really believe is a left network. They think this is the woke network, CJ. Meanwhile, poll after poll shows that American people view the economy as the number one issue, but they don't lead with that. They lead with crime. Why? Why is the question to Eric Adams? How are people feeling about the state of their life economically? How are people fed? Are people housed? That's not the question. They like, what about crime? Be afraid of your neighbor. And you're gonna see throughout this entire segment, the liberal class, the right wingers, the people who think they're woke, they think these people are woke. They want you to be afraid of your neighbors. That's why I was laughing at on the conservatives on Jimmy. If you want the police to be funded more, even though we already spend more than other countries' military on the police. Just admit you're a coward. They're afraid of your own shadow. How much more can we invest in our criminal justice system that will make you feel safe, you child? Anyway, let's I can't wait to debate that right winger next week.
Next week.
Bro, I'm gonna go hard, bro. I'm gonna go hard. But anyway, I'm gonna rewind it. I'll let it play. We 25 seconds in. Bro, I watched this the first time. I'm like banging my head against the wall. But anyway, let's watch it.
And I'm just happy about her returning to Albany and pushing the agenda forward.
She going to help you? Is she going to be a partner of you on crime in New York City?
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
He didn't ask, will she be a partner to end poverty in your city? You notice that? But he's woke, according to Republicans.
We've talked about this a lot on the air, and it's so interesting that we talked about crime in Philadelphia with a focus group. I had 4 black voters saying, I'm afraid to go to work, I'm afraid to come home. And then you get progressives going, well, there's no crime. If you look at the data, except for murders, people getting slaughtered, there's no, and you're sitting there going, what world do they live in? And so what I'd love for you to tell me, I understand data going down, except for murders. Explain to me.
So you see how he just acknowledged, I understand it's going down. But nigga, please tell us how you gonna round up some more niggas. That's how they what what does that mean? That is an acknowledgement, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, CJ, you're on point. You're on point. But look at the perspective of these capitalists. What do we tell you on RBN? Love your neighbor. Let's build community. Look at Joe Scarborough. Be afraid of your neighbor. Everyone is afraid. Someone is out to get you. Guys, ask yourself this question. Who does this fear serve? The capitalists, the rich, want us to be afraid of each other, and they want us to support propping up a giant national security state.
Nick, these are really just multiple laundering schemes from the military industrial complex, from the police state. It's to fearmonger you so they can extract more money from the people. These are all just money laundering schemes. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's continue.
Me, why people who are cheering for the Democratic Party, want Democrats to win, are frightened by MAGA Republicanism, they're walking around the city and they don't feel as safe as they did 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
I'm gonna ask you guys this question. You guys think Joe Scarborough is out here talking to the people and have a post on them? I'm around people all the time. I live in Killer City, Kansas City. We got a murder rate higher than most. I am not witnessing people shivering in fear the way he is portraying. He's talking to his boomer audience, which the people who are most likely to be cowards and live in fear are the boomers who are afraid of looking at their shadow, think that someone's out to get them. And that is manufactured by people like Joe. These capitalists want you to be afraid. Don't organize. Don't work with people you disagree with. The MAGA Republicans out to get you. You guys see the perspective of the divide and conquerors? And it's unbelievable that people who consider themselves right-wing populists, and they're the number one people who fall for this. They're the number one people. Go ahead.
And also, I must interject this part. I interjected it yesterday. But the idea that Joe is trying to convey is that black people are afraid too. But what's always missing is that, and this coon is not going to explain, he's not going to say, but yes, that is true, but black people have different solutions than giving the police money.
Yes.
They never bring that up. They always say, yeah, they're in fear. Yes. But if you said, what do you think the solution? I think they will say, yeah, how about you give all them kids some good jobs?
Yes.
Get them off the street. Get them busy. That's the type of shit you're going to hear.
That's on point because they do that all the time, guys. In my Oppo research I do, they would say, oh my God, black people are concerned with the state of society. They're afraid of crime. They're afraid of their public safety. But they don't explain the part of the post I show where when asked their solutions, they rather take money from police and reallocate this to mental health services, housing, education. As any one of the brothers I know, any brother on the street, Rome will tell you, he talks to people on the street all the time. What do you want to see happen? Let's get health care. Let's increase wages. Not this fear-mongering bullshit where we want to increase the police state more than Eric Adams already did. And the funny thing is, this interview gets way worse.
Let's go. Let's go.
We were literally just getting started. Let's let it play a little bit.
Why is there a disconnect between what everybody I talk to is saying and people who love New York and some politicians who say, no, it's just your imagination. Everything's okay.
So why not have this debate between Eric Adams and the quote unquote left that he's creating a straw man and knocking down? So who are these politicians that are agreeing with our positions? Last time I checked, all the Democratic mayors are funding the police more. The squad literally was complicit.
Voted for it.
So they completely creating a false reality that the right think is real, that liberal wine moms think is real, that the Democratic Party is anti-police. That is not true in no reality. In no fact, the NYPD, the LAPD, the Minnesota Police Department, the Baltimore Police Department, who run these districts? You deeply unserious clowns. These are Democrats.
But
the Democratic Party. Go ahead, CJ.
No, but I don't mean to cut you off. But to your point of why Joe is so good, let me give an example, illustrate that. You understand how he's so good. He just convinced his audience that there's still a need for crime, even though he admitted that he acknowledges the crime rate has gone down. You see that? You see how he slips in.
Yep.
That
was so good, man.
But the weight of the conversation is still on, man, what's wrong with these progressives? Even let's go what do we say here? We can do it either way. That's not what's happening.
Yeah.
But let's go with what he's saying, right? So what he's saying is progressives are pushing this. Oops. Oh yeah, a second. I lost the sound in my ear. Hold on a second. Go ahead, Nick. Oh.
Yeah, I let it play because it gets so bad. We're not even 2 minutes in. I let it play. Mark, you saying that, but this is why I show you guys more than Joe. I don't show you guys a lot of corporate news, but I think in this performance is why I think him and Tucker Carlson, they're like the two best right now. Pound for pound number one, pound for pound number two, in terms of propaganda that people wouldn't even see. You see people fall for this all the time. Okay, but anyway, let's go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll continue the video and then I'll pass it to you, CJ.
My bad. But I'm back. I can hear now.
Not talk at people, but talk with people.
I'm gonna rewind it so you guys hear that again because I want you guys to get the context. This is so ridiculous.
Why is there a disconnect between what everybody I talk to is saying and people who love New York and some politicians who say, no, it's just your imagination. Everything's okay.
Well, we have to not talk at people, but talk with people. And
I know this motherfucker did not just say that. Of all people, I'm gonna keep it playing because I don't want to interrupt too long. But of all people, Eric Adams is the most sanctimonious of all people to say that. The Democratic Party, you can't talk to people, you gotta talk with people. The Democratic Party literally tell activists to shut the fuck up and fall in line all the time. And by the way, CJ, while he said we gotta talk with people, not talk to people, where are the activists on the panel, you motherfucker? I see nothing but millionaires. Who are you talking to? You see how every sentence they say is a lie. But let me continue.
And Joe Scarborough also lies. Like, what black people do you think, Joe, when he says everyone I talk to, what black people you think he's talking to? But was it the Nobel Peace Prize writer that comes on his show, the black guy, forget his name, that writes for New York Times all the time? You talking about that uppity nigga? Or are you talking about Al Sharpton? Like, come on, man. Like, you're not talking about to any, like, these white people don't know it, like, not even just these white people, like these uppity black people, they don't have any connection to nobody that's broke. Yeah. They ask them, do they know any black person, brown person that makes less than $50,000? They probably chuckle.
And CJ, imagine if you're even a well-intentioned white person who just so happened to live in like super white Kentucky, North Dakota, you're not around a lot of black people. You probably watching this like, man, yeah, black people, yeah, they the left lost the goddamn mind. Because they have no reference point. We can tell you this is bullshit because you're around black people in LA. I'm around black people in the Midwest. Ron around black people in Detroit. Sabby is around black people in Massachusetts. JB is around black people in Florida. We got a pretty good polling in light perspective. We got a wide net that we're casting here, guys. So we're telling you guys, and I'm glad that RBN and black networks exist now, that these people are full of shit. But Nick, let the video play challenge. Nick, let the video
do
play
other
challenge.
That's the challenge we got. It's to let the video play. That's the challenge you and I got.
I know you guys want to watch the video, but Jesus, I'm afraid. I don't want you guys to fall for anything they're saying, man.
Let's do this.
Everything they say is a lie. I'll let it play.
Let's play it like 60 seconds, and then we'll just rewind it and then start to do it. Let's do that at least.
Oh, and someone I see Anthony. I see your comment. He said I want to hear from Reverend Al. He speaks later on, and I was debating whether I was going to include him or not. But he is just as terrible as you can imagine this segment. Anyway, Nick, let the video play challenge. I'll try to let it play the 3 minutes. I'll try.
Some politicians who say, no, it's just your imagination. Everything's okay.
Well, we have to not talk at people, but talk with people. And I'm on the subway system every day.
Right.
Just about, I walk down and I want to see the subway system. And I'm engaging with people one-on-one. And our conversation cannot be, I'm going to dictate to you how you feel. I need to ask you how you feel. Right. I need to govern to that.
That's literally what y'all do.
That's what the problem is. We have a double-digit decrease in homicides, double-digit decrease.
Real quick, they literally do that, and they're going to contradict themselves in this segment and explain how they do that.
Increase in shooting is something that I wanted to focus on.
Since when?
From January, comparing to last year. But what does that mean to a mother who just lost a loved one to gun violence? Or if you sat in the classroom and someone carried a gun inside the classroom, that means nothing. And the goal is to speak directly to voters and find out, what are you feeling? And I must deal with the actual and how you feel. That's
right. I'm trying to figure this out because so much of it does have to do with feelings that a lot of leaders say doesn't match up with data. I'm wondering, is it post-COVID? Are there more homeless people on the streets that have mental challenges that used to be taken care of pre-COVID, and there used to be more of a safety net there?
Can you pause? So this is the wrong person, like of any mayor in the fucking United States, maybe the LA challenges him. This is the last person that should be talking about anything about homeless population and whatsoever. Go ahead, Nick.
Yes, CJ, and this next part is the most disgusting part of the interview. Because now they're going to take Eric Adams' weakness, literally the human rights violations that he's been called out on, that we covered many times regarding the homeless camp raids, the illegal civil asset forfeiture that they did and stole the property of homeless people with the violent acts, the sexual assaults that have been reported on. He's about to take his biggest weakness, and Morning Joe is about to polish that turd and try to sell it as his biggest strength.
This is what imperialists, this is what colonialists, this is what capitalists do. They have a lot of experience with capitalism. Nick, 500. They have to keep repackaging this shit. They got to keep acting like it's new. Look at Starbucks. They were progressive until unions came around. They weren't seen as a progressive. He was up for labor secretary, I think, for Hillary Clinton. Nick, the CEO of Starbucks, that is.
Yeah, exactly. Like and everyone know what the enemy of labor he is, and this is exactly what they do. I told people during the primary election, it was fun. It was funny to roast Andrew Yang, but I told you guys the most dangerous person in that race was Eric Adams. I knew who he was before that election. He was a notorious cop. He came out before the election in favor of stop and frisk, and then the December of that race, he came out in favor of it again during the election. But anyway, watch this high level propaganda. This is why I show you guys Morning Joe instead of other corporate news. It's boring as hell. This is why they don't really do well in the ratings. But the propaganda is so on point. The boomers that watch the show are so captured because they don't even know what they were doing here. They about to take Eric Adams' biggest weakness, biggest criticism, and turn it to his strength. Watch this shit.
Making people feel less comfortable there. And again, it's not that, this person is poor. No, it's that they're walking down the street and somebody comes up and screams and yells at them and pushes them down.
Well, a couple of things. We never took care of homeless. This is a generational problem. And we listened to the narrative of the loudest when I went into the subway system and said that we're not going to allow people to live in an undignified way in the subway system. I'm not going to allow the encampments. The loudest attacked me, but we were able to get 2,000 people.
He's not going to allow the encampments. What he's talking about is the violent raids that the NYPD launched on the homeless, including stealing the little property that they had.
What he's trying to present it as, he's trying to say, we're not going to have people living on the street. We're going to get them out. That's what he's trying to present. He's trying to nice it up, like you said, polish up a turd. You can go continue with the video.
Yeah.
Just into some type of housing.
And really quickly, can you explain to everybody how allowing people that have mental challenges to be homeless on the street as winter approaches?
Hey, Joe, why don't you ask yourself the question, what is the root cause of that? You capitalist fuck. This is because of your central planning model. Look at Chinese subways. Do you see do you see homeless there? It does not exist. The cleanest public architecture and infrastructure that we ever seen. Go ahead, look up the Chinese subway system. Look at the high-speed rail. It literally will blow your mind. The cleanest infrastructure you will ever see, because they have a better central planning model than your ideology, Joe.
Is not humanitarian. It's not safe for them.
No, it's not.
It's not safe for New Yorkers, not safe for anybody. And yet some progressives think that, well, that's being inhumane to actually take people off the streets where they sleep on grates in the winter.
They are framing the homeless raids by Eric Adams as taking people off the streets. We are the most propagandized country in the world. Do you guys see this?
That's like that video I have of the white guy getting interviewed by the black guy, and he's trying to explain why slavery was necessary, and he was like, you completely didn't know the language was completely, what else? It was a necessary evil. Like, but what I want to also say, Nick, which is terrible in that clip, Nick, is that they're trying. This guy, I mean, I'm getting him being better at what he does right now. I'm getting, because what he's doing is meshing homelessness with crime. He is meshing them together, and it's probably intentional, because what he's saying is this. He's describing a crime rate that doesn't exist, and he admitted that, but then he tells you you're afraid by the homeless. You see, he is saying people are seeing homeless and are afraid. They're feeling. You see how they kept talking about we need to address people's feelings because they don't have the statistics, Nick. They don't have the statistics, so we have to go off people's feelings, and people's feelings are based off the homeless people outside, the mental people. Remember how he said somebody come over and push you down? That's an example. He's trying to give an example of a mental person, but he's a person with a mental issue, but he's not saying that in the example. He's painting putting this all together to use the visual aesthetics of unhoused people to paint the picture to fund crime, to fund the police state.
Yeah,
this guy's good. This guy's good.
Yeah,
I'll
show you guys Morning Joe. I don't watch like a lot of these corporate news channels. I can't stomach Morning Joe. Now you guys see what I'm talking about. Their propaganda is an art. The way they're tying a really real issue about homeless that the left has a real solution to, solving it with affordable housing. I believe in seizing the means of production, but I'm talking about the general left, the general U.S., even the general U.S. progressive left that's not there. They're like, oh, let's do affordable housing. But they try
unless you're Anna or Cenk on TYT, and you're fine with them getting swept up.
Let's talk about how Anna and Cenk had the same position on homelessness and crime as Joe Scarborough and Eric Adams. The TYT is on the same level of the Overton window as they are, but they call Jimmy. They call us right wingers. They got us blocked. They got me blocked. They talked to Matt Gaetz, but I'm blocked because I'm apparently a bad faith actor, right? Isn't that funny? The people to our right that's literally agreeing with Eric Adams. Anyway, let's continue. because watch this lie by Eric Adams, and this article going to debunk in real time.
Inhumane to allow it to continue. January of this year, the first month I went out and went into those camps. Saw human waste, drug paraphernalia, stale food, clothing, some people dealing with bipolar. And I mean,
so what he's doing right now is as bad as anything Donald Trump has ever done. He is demonizing homeless people right now. This is anti-homeless propaganda to dehumanize them. So people don't think, oh, well, yeah, he's homeless because he deserves it. He got mental illness. They surround themselves in feces. They are lesser people, so they deserve it. And he is reinforcing that here, whether you guys know it or not. This is what
Nick, is he there? Is he gentrified? He's there to further gentrify this area. Because that's what Bloomfield did. Stop and frisk was to gentrify. That's what's happening over there. But I can't believe that this is, but it's still like just shocking to see this on corporate media. And this is being, this is being disguised. Why are we talking about homelessness in a segment about crime? Do you see how they keep trying to mesh this together?
Yes.
Why is the answer about the question about crime, and then you're talking about homelessness and what you saw? You see how he's trying to paint feces and drug paraphernalia. You mean people not being able to have a bathroom? Is that what you mean? And people having to take drugs to cope with the conditions of capitalism? Is that what you mean, Eric?
Look, I'm gonna play it again so you can see. And I'll let it play. Nick, let it play challenge. I'll let it play. And I just want to explain what the disgusting propaganda he's doing right now. As worse as anything the MAGA Republicans do is what Eric Adams, a Democrat, is doing. Now do you guys see why I got Eric Adams derangement syndrome? This is a Negro who claims he represents our community, the Black community, and he is our biggest enemy.
Yes.
Our biggest enemy. So despite us being 12% of the population, we are 40% of the homeless population. So race, as we explained many times before, is connected to class. You cannot separate the two. So the homeless issue is a Black issue. This man was elected to wage war on Black people. Are we clear?
So this is a good teaching here for our white comrades that needs to, what is a house Negro? I've heard this before. A house. This is what this is textbooks house Negro.
Yeah.
He has the spoils of the ruling elite. He comes well dressed. He's get paid because he is the enforcer. He is the one that is given the extra things other than the other Negroes can get, as a reward for him keeping the Negroes in line. This is what a house Negro looks like.
Yep, and he's a former cop. And remember what me and Savvy Sav said about Black cops? Probably worse than white cops. If I want to be 100% real with you, because Black cops have a chip on the shoulder, and they got proof to the white cops that they're not weak. That's literally the mechanism why they're worse. And you see it with Eric Adams. CJ, do you want to chime in before I let it play?
It's a self-hatred too, because the Black person who they're trying to round up almost it's a self-reflection. They realize that I am a tool, but it makes you upset. Like, nigga, I'm gonna put. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like that emotion and that much that they put into it is really on themselves, man. They know what they're doing. This nigga know what he's doing.
All right, so I try to speed the segment up, so I'll let it play a little bit, but it's gonna be hard. And I try to include Al Sharpton. I'll really let it play for him because he is horrible. Horrible. Anyway, let's go.
Sleep on grates in the winter.
It's inhumane to allow it to continue. January of this year, the first month I went out and went into those camps. Saw human waste, drug paraphernalia, stale food, clothing, some people dealing with bipolar. And I made it clear to the team when I finished those weeks of visiting those camps that we are not going to continue this policy of walking past people that are living on our streets. That is inhumane. And the loudest is not going to get in the way of.
So we're not going to walk past them. We're going to hire a fascist police force to assault them and steal their stuff.
We're not gonna freaking roll this shit past Africa and let these motherfucking slaves just stay here, okay? Look at them, look at them. We need to go ahead and take them, take their religion, take their language, rape them so that they can feel free. That's what this nigga's doing. Go ahead.
And y'all look at me when I call it. These people literally, this is on corporate TV. This man is literally just explaining his fascism. The liberals just casually explaining their fascism. And the liberal boomer audience is nodding along. And y'all wonder why I'm afraid of these motherfuckers. Anyway, let's continue.
Making sure
I'll speed this segment up.
How do we fund proper treatment? Because, you know, you see a lot of charter schools that are helped by the richest billionaires on Wall Street. And I'm not knocking the richest billionaires on Wall Street. I'm so glad that they're...
Of course you're not, you capitalist fuck.
Helping in Harlem, and they're helping in the Bronx, and they're helping around the five boroughs. I'm just curious, how do we get people engaged to help the truly disadvantaged that are on the streets, that need to get off of the streets and need to get treatment?
Let me tell you how. We ask them. You know, our corporate...
Nigga, I saw the videos. If you guys didn't hear him, he said we asked them. I saw the videos on Twitter. You guys literally searched on Twitter, New York homeless encampments raids. You can find them. They're very easy. I did not see any policemen go up to these homeless people like, hey, sir, where do you want to be located at? How are your needs going, sir? Nigga, I saw these people get their ass beat. Liar. All right, I'll be fast with my responses.
Leaders in this city were waiting just to be invited in. Kathy Weil and a partnership, they raised millions of dollars to specifically deal with how do we help people who are homeless. They have been a real partner.
So instead of us having an effective central planning model, we got to rely on the good heart of random capitalists instead of having infrastructure. Do you guys see the banana republic that we live in?
We have 2% of our income, 51% of our income tax is paid by 2% of New Yorkers. Instead of trying to run them out of the city, no, they should be part of our financial ecosystem. And they have stepped up merely because we went into our corporate suites and offices and engaged in the conversation, saying this is our city. And they say, Eric, we have been waiting for someone to come in and talk to us.
And if
word salad. Now let's hear from Al Sharpton a little bit. Let's hear from him a little bit. But I watched the whole segment. He was horrible, as bad as. You see why he got this position. Anyway,
You have no tax base to do the kinds of things you want to do. But one of the things that I wanted to raise with you, clearly there is a feeling, and Joe and Mika and I talk about it all the time, is a feeling of being unsafe.
Yes.
And for
be
some
afraid.
to come back with
be afraid, everybody.
When you have people that are feeling unsafe, that have real life experiences, fear about their children who have had the real life experiences, data doesn't matter. And
once again, every single poll showed people said the economy was the most important issue in the election. But what do they deflect to? People are feeling unsafe, so you should feel unsafe. They are manufacturing consent for everyone to distrust their neighbors.
Nick, who do you think this segment is not for black people? This segment is for white people.
Absolutely.
You got two house niggas saying the fear you are feeling.
Yes.
White people.
Yes.
It's okay. Yes. Damn the numbers. You feel unsafe. And we're here to help you with that fear.
Dude, that's such a good
they
point.
shuck and drive. This is not for us. We know this shit ain't happening, man. This is for white people to make them feel good because the numbers ain't there to back it up, Nick. The numbers are not there. So what they have to start saying, because now they have to start admitting the numbers there. You notice right after election, now that after the election, they start admitting the numbers are not there. You find me segments where they admitted that before the election. Now that something that everybody already knew, that's why it wasn't a factor in the election. People knew this shit was, it's like, you're telling me crime's up, but I'm like, I don't know anybody that has been afflicted by any crime. I haven't seen any crime in my community, but you're telling me it's up. So, okay, it's up somewhere, but not here. So I'm going to go ahead and vote what's happening in my community, which wasn't crime, and it showed.
Once again, RBN, the voice of the people. Who's been telling you guys this for months now? Mainstream media behind, as always. And CJ, your point was so on the money because they know their audience. Do you think they don't know their analytics? When you look at MSNBC, their ratings are abysmal. Literally the only people watching this shit, and I am not exaggerating, look up the rating numbers. For a second time, I'm not going to pull it up, but like their entire audience is like 65 and older. So they know their audience is old, white, and honestly, black boomers fall for this shit too. They sit there, old, afraid boomers who are paranoid, and they need corporate media to tell them why they're afraid. Yeah, your feelings of fear. Yeah, them little kids, them kids you see that listen to the hip and the hop. You got reason to be afraid of them. See, that's a good point, CJ. We talked a little bit more of this, and then I got one more. I just one quick thing, and I pass it to you for your next segment.
Yeah, we'll get to the next segment.
Saying that strongly. In fact, you ran on that when it wasn't popular in some aspects of certain communities, including the black community, and you won.
Right.
Is it not?
You see, both of them don't give a fuck about what's happening in the black community. He just said it wasn't popular in the black community. You still did it.
Yes,
house nigga. He was like, house nigga. House nigga.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because that's actually a part I really want to emphasize. He literally is. He just debunked their entire argument. Remember in the beginning of the segment when he was like, "Yeah, you got to listen to people. You got to talk to people. You got to listen to people, not talk to people." Meanwhile, this whole segment is them talking to us, and then Al Sharpton just debunks them, like he don't even mean to. Let's play it.
Unsafe that have real life experiences. Fear about their children who have had the real life experiences. Data doesn't matter. And you've come out saying that strongly. In fact, you ran on that when it wasn't popular in some aspects of certain communities.
Oh, what community, sir? It wasn't. And once I'm gonna show you guys the next receipt after this. They have Eric Adams speaking like he's the voice of the people, as if he's not one of the most unpopular mayors in America, with no one to challenge him. You gotta talk. You gotta talk to people. Talk with people, not two. Oh, you get twisted. You gotta talk with people, not two people, as they say. Meanwhile, they got one of the most unpopular mayors in America preaching to the MSNBC audience completely unchallenged. Why don't they got Olayemi there? Why don't they got Zoya there? Anyone from Tandem? Why is there not any of those activists there to at least have a conversation? Because you're not talking with people. You're talking to people. The exact same thing you said that the activist was doing. You projecting motherfuckers. I'll rewind it a little bit, and it'll be last part. It'll be last part of the video we play before we move on.
The real life experiences. Data doesn't matter. And you've come out saying that strongly. In fact, you ran on that when it wasn't popular in some aspects of certain communities, including the black community, and you won.
Right.
Is it not
Actually, I cut it off too soon. He literally just admit the black community.
Detrimental to you and the messaging that you did, and I know you've helped get some people in that were not willing to go where you went. But isn't it detrimental to you for a lot of our officials, I'm talking about in New York and nationally, Democrats, that won't do what you did and say, wait a minute, we've got to deal with the reality that whether the data says it or not, perceived unsafety is real to these people.
What the fuck are you talking about? I like that.
I can't believe they didn't got these two niggas to come out and say this shit right here, Nick.
Does he sound like the two smartest people in New York to you?
This is some I revoked some black card shit right here. Go ahead.
Does it sound like the two? I want to listen to that part again. That made no sense what he just said. These people are completely incoherent. Let's listen to that part again.
And nationally, Democrats that won't do what you did and say, wait a minute, we've got to deal with the reality that whether the data says it or not.
We have to deal with the reality of whether the data, whether the facts are on our side. What are you talking about?
Perceived unsafeness is.
So no matter what the data say, no matter what people say to you, we gotta deal with the reality of the made-up reality of people who feel unsafe. Do you guys hear what he's saying? What the fuck are you talking about? I'll play it again. And it'll be the last part that we play because this is unbelievable. This is incoherent. Am I the only one that hear this? I'm gonna look at the chat. Look, do you guys know what he's saying here?
In New York and nationally, Democrats that won't do what you did and say, wait a minute, we've got to deal with the reality that whether the data says it or not, perceived unsafety is real to these people.
But no.
What? Once again, what? Doesn't matter. We got to be in the reality of the perceived feelings that we. What do you? Anyway, let's hear from Eric Adams. I'll wrap this up. Sorry, Steve.
Without a doubt, I use the acronym ICE. Inflation.
Nope. All right, I'll cut off there.
Let me just say this part about this. It is such a bigger issue what these two are doing.
Yes.
Do you understand they're giving cover to white police officers murdering people? Perceived fear. It's okay. We got two cooning ass niggas talking about white perceived fear needs to be addressed.
Yes.
It's a real thing. This gives cover to white cops saying, I'm afraid. That's why I killed the guy with 60 shots, even though he had no gun and it was 7 of us. Go ahead, Nick. Last receipt.
Did you guys see the guy that they had, the voice of the black community, the voice of New York? Everyone disagreed with you fucks, but they did a segment and they presented it as fact, as he was the guru of New York. And guess what? How many channels are you seeing doing critical analysis of mainstream media propaganda on crime? I see white leftists, wink, wink, Anna Kasparian, Sam Cedar, Jenkins. I see these people literally fall for the propaganda. They will literally repeat the same thing that Eric Adams just did. I see white America fall for the shit all the time, and it blows my mind, guys. That's why RBN. That's why I had to leave with the segment. We're going to be one who lead the charge on debunking this blatant propaganda and exposing how these black Democrats are our biggest enemies. They want to pretend, and I do acknowledge that MAGA is dangerous. I'm not saying that. Their ideology is dangerous. But these people are the biggest direct threat to our community. My congressman is Emmanuel Cleaver, a black congressional caucus leader who's against Medicare for all. He's pretty much a black congressional oligarch that funded the Ukraine war. He's a neoliberal, pretty much Jim Clyburn without the notoriety. So people like, Nick, why do you spend so much time criticizing Democrats? I don't know, you dumb. Maybe because politics is local. Politics is mostly local, you deeply unserious fuck. Remember, the same people that say we're the dumb left, they're the dumb left. I am against Democrats because black congressional caucus oligarchs govern our community. Marjorie Taylor Greene governs an all-white community. Why should I care about her? I am governed by Emmanuel Cleaver. Look at Baltimore. Look at Eric Adams. Look at all these black fucks. And you guys wonder, Nick, oh my God, why don't you criticize the Republicans more? Hope I made it clear. Anyway, CJ, that's my only segment. I know that went long.
That was a beautiful segment. So we're gonna.
I can always go off on Eric Adams. I can always go off on him. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, so we're gonna take not leave or anything, but we'll take a short break in between segments to do a couple.
I'll be right back.
Announcements, absolutely. So the next segment, I can put that up. Actually, let's do that. The next segment is progressive, or the squad expands, and it kind of started from this tweet here. Squad expands. So some of you may know some of the names of the supposedly new squad members. There's already been several articles written about these members, literally like in the last day or so since they've been elected, they've written this. So the squad expands. It starts from this Ken Klippenstein tweet here. But first, let's get to some other things. Short intermission, short break if you want to take a restroom break. Couple of announcements like this video. We are currently at 348 likes. We're at 550 people right now. That's a 200 difference. Let's add 100 more. Let's see if we can get to 450 likes. 450 likes. Let's get a ton more people here in the chat for this conversation. Everybody wants to talk about who is the squad is expanding. Now we're really going to get something done, right, guys? So let's like the stream. Let's get some more people here. Also, join our Substack if you're watching this. You're just getting here 60 minutes in, so you missed an hour already and you wish you were here earlier. Join our Substack. You will get notifications 30 minutes up to 2 hours before our streams. Also, if you're watching this on replay, same reason. Join our Substack and you will get notifications. Also, subscribe to us. We just hit our 25,000 mark. We got 5,000 more to go to hit our 30,000. So subscribe, share this video. All of you sharing, our community sharing is how we got here in not even 2 years. So thank you for all of your support. And now that Nick is back, we can get back to the stories. And the next story is the squad expands. And it kind of started from this tweet, I believe, because this is where I saw it. And I saw it at first with you, Nick. I saw your retweet of this. I don't remember if it was a comment. It was a comment right here.
Yeah, Ken Klippenstein, hilarious shit lib. He's the guy that was like, he was called out for ignoring Russiagate because he got a giant platform on the Intercept. And once again, the warning that we always got to give you on the channel, if you're a whistleblower, do not go to the Intercept. I repeat, the Intercept is horrific at protecting whistleblowers. And whenever anyone discusses the Intercept, that is what we need to bring up over and over again. And Ken Klippenstein, the Intercept is here to play defense for the Empire at the end of the day. And he was asked about Russiagate, and they was like, why don't you cover Russiagate? He's like, Russiagate is boring. Like, guys, we are on the precipice of a global war. The proxy war in Ukraine is literally the finale, the next step, I should say, of Russiagate. They manufacture consent. Everything you know about geopolitical politics, Russiagate was a starting lighting fire of that. A very significant part of that it is. I could not think of a bigger clown, and he wanted people that prop by the algorithm because he protected the Democratic Party. He wanted people like, oh, I'm progressive, but I'm gonna tell you to vote blue no matter who every few years. And you see what he's doing now. But go ahead, CJ. I'll let you present. I know
he's a Jacobin. Okay,
yeah.
So now, because I don't know too much about Ken Klippenstein, I believe that's how you said. But let me read the tweet. Feels like I think it should say it should be a bigger story that the squad is gaining 3 members. Wow, he only puts it at 3 because there's another tweet I saw and it's like 7 they had, and we'll kind of briefly go through all of them and then kind of zero in on maybe 3 or 4 of them that have interesting stances on some things like Palestine and Israel. So, but let's go to your tweet, Nick. Why they don't vote?
Yeah, look at
a block. That damn near about to hit 1,000 already. Yeah. Go ahead,
bro. And damn, I'll be sniping these motherfuckers recently, man. But I told you they're this Bernie industrial complex that is 100% real. I'll show you guys the Cal and his friend who was cheering on Maxwell Frost, who's a fucking Zionist, who the Palestinians hate. But they have to keep selling hopium. They made their careers. They made a fortune off the Bernie Sanders industrial complex. Guys, Revolutionary Blackout is 100% post-Bernie. Our audience, our message resonated post-Bernie and rejecting the strategy of the Justice Democrats that earned us their ire. We didn't build RBN based on the Bernie industrial complex. But there are people like Ken Klippenstein, Kyle Kulinski is one of them, David Dole. That's why you see him and Mike Figueredo. You see the amount of excitement that they have whenever any halfway decent news coming because their job is to sell the idea of the Justice Democrats because that's how they got built. We're post-Bernie. We don't have to do that shit. Our audience is not relying on it. Whenever, and I remember Kyle did a video talking about this. He's like, whenever I criticize AOC, my subs go down. Wonder why, Kyle? Nigga, we do AOC passing bills every day. Like we don't worry about that because we didn't.
Our subs go up. Our subs go up when we do AOC.
Yeah, but
videos.
TJ, I'll pass it to you because I've been running for a while. But you see, I added. They all cited to the point you passed it to me for. They are cited for the squad. That's their job to cheerlead for these people. Why should we be cited? We got more people that are going to vote for funding to Ukraine. Being excited for more squad members is like being excited for 3 more Uvalde police officers at the scene of the crime. It means nothing. They don't even vote as a block.
That is so true, nigga. You better tweet that out. That shit gonna blow up 5,000. Nigga, tweet that shit out. That's gonna blow up. But all right. So let me read this one here. Quote tweet: when they vote to send more aid money to Nazis in Ukraine or in Israel, we can rest easy that the representatives who cast those votes are adequately intersectional. Let's read this one. Friend of the show. Why? So that they can also fund more Nazi child rapists. Let's see if I'm trying to find people we know. This one, I know this person here. You mean 3 more useless people. I'm gonna retweet that one. That's on point. Oh wow, 3 more useless member. Stop the press. Love that one. I'll retweet. I'll read a couple more, then I'll go by. Then I'll go to the next part. So why they don't vote as a block, and he's just quoting Nick, except for funding Nazis. So that is how it started. Now what we did, of course, Nick, we said let's look at some of these progressives, some of these people that are adding, and let me just quickly show you their faces, and then we'll kind of get into some of the articles. So I'll quickly show you their faces. I
am 100% down with being fair to these people. Well, I don't know all of them like that, but I'm telling you guys, they're gonna disappoint. I am gonna be fair. I'm gonna wait to see what they do, and let's have an objective analysis of their positions. Okay, let's see where they stand. I'm just telling you guys based on what we know. We know they're gonna disappoint, but let's see where they stand. Go ahead, CJ, because I know you got the receipts.
Yeah, this is Val. I think it's Hoy. I think that's like Hoyle, or maybe. But this is Val, and she's from Connecticut. Again, I'm just gonna quickly just show you who they are. And those in the comments, if you want to add more to some of these people I'm showing here, please add more context. Like if you were in their area and you know a little bit more about the candidate, please do. We are going to talk about a specific topic, and that's their stances on Israel in particular. This is Jasmine Crockett. She's up in Texas. I think we have a couple of Texas candidates. I think we got 4 more. And then there's, let's see, Becca here. She's out in Vermont. So, and she's a pretty strong, I would say a strong left-leaning person. I looked up some of her criteria, I looked up her website. So she's not too bad. She's not too bad. Except for Palestine, of course, but we'll get to that part. So, I took what you said, like when you heard John Featherman, you said, "Hey, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see what's his stance on Israel," and that's what you did, and that's what I did with some of these people here. And of course, there's Delia Ramirez. So this is another one. And then probably the one that's most popular to most people is this one right
I'm gonna
here.
add it real quick.
Go ahead.
Folding to the pressure of the Zionists in order to get elected shows that you're gonna buck on other things. You think that's gonna be why do you think Jamal Bowman is so terrible? Why do you think the squad all vote for Ukraine funding? Because they already showed their hands. You think they're only gonna buckle on that? You think they're gonna buckle now and then change their mind later? No, that's when you're weak on Palestine, you're going to be weak on other issues. Look at Jeremy Corbyn in the UK. His career was destroyed, and he was smeared as an anti-Semite. His own party went after him because of his strength on Palestine. The Democratic Party is not going to let you on the side. They're not going to promote you if you are not if you're actually sorry, they're not going to support you if you're calling out the crimes and the genocide that's going on in Israel. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, and that's the reason. Well, I'll save my critique. But Summer Lee is the one that's probably the most well known. Is probably Summer Lee, and we're gonna also discuss her. And I think I got one more. I don't need to put up Max Frost because we talked about Max yesterday, and I'll let you chime in on him when we get to Max. But he's one of them, so I'll just put that out there.
I might cut that segment. But anyway, go ahead.
And then there's this guy, Greg. The receipts for this guy, we got for this guy. But Greg Caesar, I believe that's how you say his name. He is from Texas, also Austin. Actually, and now I can tell you because I'm not moving there, but not you because you already knew this. But I was looking to move to Austin, thinking about moving to Austin. Actually, flew out there. Families out there anyway, but. Yeah. Not in Austin, but in Houston, flew out there and all that stuff and decided not to go. But that person is in Austin. And this is the last one, Jonathan Jackson for Congress. And he's out in Illinois. So those are just some of the candidates, Nick. And before we sort of go into the receipts, have you heard about any of these candidates before today? Like, have you heard of any of them?
No, I have not heard of any of these people, but I think it's interesting. These are the people who got by. Because once again, I haven't followed any of these people. I want to know what the makeup of their district was. But a lot of the more popular progressives that was running was wiped out during the primaries because they have this new problem where they're having a hard time beat dark money. And you're gonna show the receipts on Palestine. If you get that issue wrong, I don't trust you on anything else. Like, and I didn't used to have that litmus test. I admit, like, we all evolve, right? That's why I was supportive of Bernie Sanders, right? Because maybe, but no, we all saw what Bernie became. We all saw the squad because like that's the biggest tell. That is Lula with all criticism of Lula, and that's why I said with all the criticism we have, having. Lula stand for the Palestinians on the global stage is giant. Bolsonaro was a giant Zionist, a giant bootlicker of the far-right leopard party in Israel. I covered that before. So stuff like that, the fact he called NATO, the fact he wanted his own South American currency, those are the things that make that a good win. And when you compare Lula to Bernie, as I explained before, Lula makes Bernie Sanders look like Ronald Reagan with all the criticism of Lula. I'm straight up, but go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with Caesar, the guy out in Austin, Texas, Greg Caesar. So let's start with him. Now he may be good. Now remember what Western leftists, what makes you a leftist and progressive, and basically Malcolm X Jr. What makes you that is belief in Medicare for all, or maybe a $15 minimum wage or something like that. I want campaign finance reform. That makes you left, but what's not taken into account, and Nick and I keep talking about this, is crimes of the imperialist core, and that's foreign crimes. That seems to fall short, where you can have very wide-ranging nuance. And this article right here from Jewish Insider, in Texas 35, Greg Caesar outlines his approach on Israel and the Palestinians. So let me fast forward down here to this part, and let's zoom in, Nick. Oops, let's zoom in and fast forward. Okay, so right here. Now I'll read a little bit more, but I do want to zoom in to this part, and this is the progressive, the new squad member. He's gonna fit right in, Nick, because listen to this. But Caesar, 32, appears to be charting his own path on Israel.
There it is. That's the language they use. But go ahead.
Like he's not going along with the progressive. He's charting his own path.
Like he's exploring. He's exploring his options. No, he's taking orders. But go ahead. I love it. Oh my God, these people. These fucking people.
According to a letter he wrote to a local rabbi that was obtained by Jewish Insider on Tuesday, in the letter, Caesar pledged to support American military assistance to Israel, stated his opposition to divestment and sanction movement (BDS), and expressed a desire to travel to Israel and the West Bank. That's
wait. Sorry, hold up. So, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got some receipts on Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine. So wait till we get to her, because we got a pretty powerful community here, and they saw what we was talking about, and he was like, "Yo, I got some receipts. Jasmine Crockett is funded by, and we just covered how the progressives are funded by George Soros. Jasmine Crockett is funded by crypto capitalists and super PACs. I'll show that receipt here soon. Go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, let me just back up a little bit and read a little more. This may not be on the exact topic, but just more about the background. National figures such as Elizabeth Warren, the Snake, AOC, Fake Handcuff has pledged their support for Caesar as a Justice Democrat. So he is a Justice Democrat. A progressive political action committee known for backing insurgent candidates. They need to take that shit off now. Caesar, a member of the Democratic Socialist DSA, who was first elected to the council in 2014, is running to the left of primary challenger Eddie Rodriguez, a Democratic state representative. So we don't need to go into that, but that's one of the first people, and I'll take this first receipt down. So we're talking about doesn't that kind of fits right in what the other squad members, with them funding them and the Iron Dome, Nick, his stance on Israel and how he's not down for BDS is like he fits right in. So he is actually a bona fide new squad member, I would say. But there's more receipts. You share your receipt. So let's go to her. You share your receipt about Crockett.
So she's one of the people who won, right? Jasmine Crockett.
Yes.
Listen, I'm literally learning about this, watching your segment. Look at this. Look at this receipt someone sent me. And I saw someone in the chat ask why was they allowed to win, but Nina Turner wasn't, even though we all know they're weak. Look at this. Cryptocurrency traders Super PAC give 2 million boost to Jasmine Crockett. Remember when the Bernie Sanders literally the entire premise of the Justice Democrats was to fight super PACs, right? And money in politics. They went from that to apologizing for the party that is outspending. They all taking money from George Soros. This is unbelievable. So I was doing a little bit of research while you presenting. Protect Our Future also announced it was investing $1 million. So I was like, all right, who the fuck is Invest Our Future? It's ran by this guy. His net worth peaked at $26 billion. The progressives that are winning are literally fundraised by PACs financed by billionaires. And people are celebrating. Fucking
it's crazy.
Ken Klippenstein, Kyle Kalinske, good guy politics. These people are celebrating politicians that are bankrolled by bill. Look, this is the I was looking for this up while you look. This is Protect Our Future. They invested $1 million in their campaign. Protect Our Future is a Democratic political action committee started this year. Sam Bankman free.
Suspicious. That's suspicious.
I'm a quick. Let's see if I quickly scheme. Super PAC and so they're just talking about how super PACs work here. But yeah, all the progressives that won. The progressive movement cannot win, and they cannot overcome dark money. And the ones who are winning, they're just straight out full-fledged selling out. That's the take I have. But I'll pass it to you, CJ.
Yeah, so let's go to another member and let's do Val. So we did Val Hoy, Hoyle. So let's do her. I have this article This actually is also from the Jewish Insider, but it is a different article. Hang on a second there. I have to change this. All right, so this article, and you tell me if a pro-Israel outfit endorses somebody, do you think that's a good thing for Palestinians or a bad thing for Palestinians, Nick?
I'm sure it'd go great for them. I'm sure it'd be amazing. I'm sure the Palestinian community feels so represented, and they feel so empowered. The fact that we got more these squad members in.
So, Jewish Insider also, DMFI PAC announces new slate of general election endorsements. So, along with the regular, corporate Democrats, this guy from Arizona was something Kelly. Let's scroll down, though, and I'm going to scroll down. Actually, there's a lot in here, so let's skim through it because there's more than one a person listed in here. But so as you can see, I mean, from right off, we already know Richie Torres, the terrible Richie Torres, Hakeem Jeffers, Gregory Meeks, Wasserman Schultz. These are some of the pro-Israel incumbents that they are pushing. So this is the group that's the same pro-Israel group that's pushing this progressive. So let's scroll down to where they appear. I can't believe, Nick, or maybe I can't believe. Look how many people. You can see the highlights here. How many people? And do you know if Sean Patrick Maloney won or lost?
Don't remember. I think lost. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, here she goes. Oh, now that's Val Demings. There's two Vals in this article. But anyway, she just listed in a list of names. You can find this article. We'll put it in the description, a link to this article where you can find. She is listed as one of the people who is being supported or being endorsed by the pro-Israel super PAC. Let me see if I can zoom in on her. 1 second here. Did I skip her? I may have skipped her, but I don't want to I want to continue with the segment. So go find this article. It's just literally just looking up her name. There's nothing else to read. But let's go now to the next, Nick. The next receipt is a doozy. This one is, she is a Jewish American. So let's just put that out there. Let me copy this link. Copy link. She's a Jewish American, and she is probably one of the more further left candidates. And her name is Becca Balint or something like that is how you pronounce her name. But let's scroll down to the part I want to talk about, and let me pronounce her name right. So you see her here, Becca Balint from Vermont. And like I said, of some of her other stances, she is one of the further left candidates, Nick. But let's zoom in here and talk about Becca a little more with concerning her stance on Palestine. Do I got some sort of thing popping up here? I'll close this. Sorry, something's popping up here. All right, so now I should be able to read. All right, so Becca, 54, launched her campaign by referring to her Jewish grandfather who was killed in the Holocaust. She has acknowledged being a Democratic Party left flank, though. Says she does not support. I'm sorry, let me read this again to make it make sense. She has acknowledged being on the Democrats' left flank, though says she does not support the BDS movement, and described the GTA, the difficult position Vermont Jewish community felt when Burlington City was voting on issues related to BDS. It was a difficult position for her, Nick. But let me read on, and then I'll get your comment. On Israel-Palestine, Becca advocates for a U.S. leadership as a means towards ending the occupation and the creation of a Palestinian state. She
So I
also
had to
believes
go for a second.
Jerusalem. Go ahead.
But of course, I was listening though. Of course, you see another one. This is the strategy of the modern progressive movement. The progressive movement is a white suburbs movement. It's a movement of the white suburbs. They abandoned anti-colonialism. They abandoned being anti-war. They abandoned challenging the prison and the military-industrial complex. This is not a movement for workers or any black or colonized people. But go ahead, CJ.
No, that's a great point to add in there. And let me read a little more. Man, I can't stand these pop-ups that keeps you on this. Okay, all right. So I think I got rid of the last one. But let me read a little more. She laments that the mechanism of occupation. Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't skip this. Oh, I did skip another part. Let me go back up here. She also believes Jerusalem should be a shared capital as part of a two-state solution, Nick, according to J Street PAC, and that her family's history, Nick, this is where she interjects the Holocaust, influences her beliefs that Jews need a place to call home.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
She laments that the mechanism of occupation, home demolition, unjust detentions, displacement of families through illegal settlement expansion, ongoing bombing of Gaza, the strangling blockade of Gaza, and harassment of checkpoint has made life in Palestine unbelievably challenging. Oh my God!
You guys.
I didn't read that quote, Nick. Did you hear what she described? And then she just says it's unbelievably challenging. It's challenging to have your family displaced. It's challenging to have ongoing bombings, strangling blockades. And she just described it as it's challenging.
Yeah, you saw how the Palestinian Community Network reacted. Even at the mention of the word two-state solution. Great comment by Omar. The two-state solution is a scam. There's no two-state solution. This is colonialism. Imagine indigenous people with the United States. Oh, this is a two-state solution. How did that go for them? Well, you see how this stuff worked before. The colonizers always want to say stuff, gaslight people with stuff like that. But I'll pass back to you, CJ.
Yeah. Now there was a couple of people, and let me go to Summer now, who wasn't exactly bad, but wasn't exactly. Let me just read it. And
which one is this again?
This is Summer Lee now that I'm going to bring up. So let me share Summer Lee, and then we have one more before we wrap this segment, and we can move on to Jimmy Dore video or something like that.
I remember reported that Summer Lee. The only thing I know about her that is bad is the fact that she's one of the candidates that was heavily funded by the Working Family Party and funded via a proxy by George Soros. I saw her name on a lot of the receipts. So other than that, once again, I'm being fair, I don't know that much about her, but I saw that she was funded by the same PACs and the same billionaires and the ruling class that we're supposed to be challenging. I'm not going to allow them to lull me to sleep and allow me to be undisciplined. If you're bankrupted by billionaires, you're complicit and you're working for the class. There's no exceptions. Oh, this person is kindly taking money from billionaires. Fuck that. Fuck out of here. Go ahead, CJ.
So let me. So there's a section. Oops, these pop-ups, man. These pop-ups. Capitalism will not let you rest. But anyway, this is the title of the article. It's on The Nation. Why is AIPAC so desperate to defeat Lee? So, like I said, there's good and bad in this. So let me, I'll read the quote. I'm not going to scroll down. I have it written down because I don't want to have to find it. So I'll just read. No, I don't want to do that because I know people be like, oh, he didn't show the receipt. So let me scroll down and find the part. How do I exit this out? Exit this off. These fucking people keep having these pop-ups. Anyway, So Lee has made it clear. So that's the part I need to find. Let me read it here, and you can see it for yourself as I read. Lee. Okay, here it goes. Lee has made it clear that she absolutely respects Israel's legitimacy as a Jewish state. So what's AIPAC's objection? Like former President Jimmy Carter and other Democrats, Lee couples her recognition of the need for Jewish people to have a safe haven in Israel with the position that it's vital to protect and stand up for Palestinians. The balanced stance has won her praise from J Street, the national group that organizes supporters of Israel who seek peace in the Middle East and on the ground support for the Bend the Arc. Go ahead.
Let me explain you guys the ideology of these progressive Zionists that is ridiculous and it's innately anti-Palestinian. So they say that Jewish people need a safe haven. Okay. What is preventing the one-state solution in your mind of being a safe haven? They are accepting the premise of the far right in Israel that the only way that Jews can have a safe haven is if they are separate from the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people, their land, that is their land. That is Palestine. So if you don't feel safe there, that's your fault. Move. That is your safe haven. So why are you guys accepting this premise that we need a dominant Zionist state in order for Jews to feel safe? There's been many people that have explained, and Norman Finkelstein explained this as well. The state of Israel, in their extremist pro-war, extremely anti-Muslim stances, they make Jewish people around the world more unsafe.
Yeah.
The Zionist state of Israel makes Jewish people more unsafe. They radicalize people. They the Benjamin Netanyahu wing of the party, they framed this openly as a religious war. Zionist Jews in the United States, they feel like they had to side with Israel, despite people like Katie Hopper, a big shout out, because she's a Jew who speak out against this. So it's not a religious war. Richard Meadows explained this as well. They're Palestinian Christians. There's Christians in the Middle East that stand for Palestine. This is not a religious battle. This is a battle of colonialism. But the far right in Israel has purposely tried to make this a religious war. So by doing so, they provoke the most radical extreme elements of other religions, thus putting more Jewish people at harm. And that's just one example. Norman Finkelstein, I'm not the one who came up with that. Norman Finkelstein explained this really well. I read this a lot. So that's just one example of how Israel does that. But I'll pass it to you, CJ, if you have anything else you want to add.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just make sure I've covered. So we've covered, just to round up, we've covered Greg, we've covered Becca, we're covering now Summer, we've covered Jasmine. These are all the newly lamented squad members. Now, there was one. Let me bring up the article. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There was one who, when I Googled her, I found an article that called her a pro-Palestinian person. So what was weird, though, is that I found a separate article that said the exact opposite. So, I don't know which one to believe, but here is the one. And this is for Delia Ramirez. It says pro-Palestinian Mexican Congresswoman Ramirez is grateful to the people of Turkey. So this article kind of talks about that. She's 26 years old. So I found this, but while you're here, let me take you to show you how I found another article. I think I'm still showing there. Yeah, let me show you how I found another article here, and I'm using Google on purpose. So her name is Delia Ramirez, and let's go Palestine, not Texas. And we're going to go Palestinians. All right. So she's also endorsed. So this is what I mean. So you saw that article that says she was pro-Palestinian, but then there's this J Street article that shows that she is endorsed by them. So, and it kind of goes into that here. So I'm just giving you the evidence, the messenger. I'm not telling you which way to on her, Nick, because I found conflicting sort of reports. But the overarching thing, Nick, is what you said earlier. The new thing for progressives is selling out Israel, is selling out Palestinians. Yeah. Like that's the thing. It's pro-Israel progressives, or progressives except for Palestine. Too. Yeah,
and don't get twisted, guys. Not only just Palestine that they're horrible on. You have AOC that deferred to caucus leadership on Mike Pompeo and John Bolton's war. This is when Trump was in charge, guys, and she deferred to caucus leadership as they was waging war against Nicolas Maduro. You have them voting for a weapons deal to Taiwan, and they all repeat anti-China narratives like John Fetterman does. When on the debate stage, said China's our number one enemy. So Palestine is a reflection of how bad they're going to be on every other foreign policy conversation, as well as state violent issues. So I don't know if you have anything else on this story, but we can the last segment I can do with Cenk and Anna, but I'll pass it back to you. We can get into the Cenk and Anna story next, though.
Cenk and Anna story, yeah, let's do that. That's a
fun one to end on. Because I'm gonna keep this one shorter because I got some plans. I told you earlier with my cousins today. So one more segment I think is good for me. I'm gonna read some super chats that I caught, if you don't mind.
Let's intermission right before this last segment. So read those super chats and then I'll do the little announcement.
Yeah,
and then
I'm doing one last skin to make sure I didn't miss any. So once again, this is just a heads up. We got a lot more support, which we definitely appreciate. We got like 600 people, and we've been carrying that for quite a while. So if I miss any super chats, it's not malicious. It's not out of spite. It's just because I probably missed tagging it. So with that said, let's dive into it. Thank you for the $5. Christian 999. Eric Adams was at the 25-year-old anniversary block party with Spike for Do the Right Thing. I thought it was hilarious when I saw it. Man, these black celebrities, when they see Eric Adams, when they see these pro-police corrupt politicians, then you start saying no. And when they don't say no, man, I don't give these people that much benefit of doubt. I'm tired of these people just
I give them
providing cover for evil people for access, and because they don't want an awkward moment. I'm sorry, yeah, it's gonna be an awkward moment saying no to these evil people, but that's the least you can do. Being rich and being a superstar and being a celebrity, the least you can do is go through that awkward moment and say, no, I don't want to be connected with you because of your policies. But if you don't do that, I know I'm harsh, but I don't get these celebrities benefit of doubt, especially black celebrities. Like we see LeBron James fucking tap dancing and cooling for the Democratic Party this primary, and that's like, man, that's so disgusting. You're already rich, bro. What are you selling out more for? You got fuck you money. That's why I don't get. You got fuck you money, and they still do it.
Doesn't make sense.
So let's say LeBron James called these people out. He lose Nike deals, and he lose like 80% of his net worth. Who cares, bro? You worth millions of dollars.
He's literally he's a billion. He's made a billion. He's literally.
You guys see the different how I think. I have no ambitions of becoming rich, but it's like, bro, if you got billions of dollars, what you got? Fuck you. Who cares if you lose like 80% of that? You still got 200 million, and you standing for the right thing, and you standing for your community. This is why I fundamentally don't understand these people. I just don't.
This is why I always say, think about what Harriet Tubman would say about a bunch of black people with billions of dollars, while the mass majority of black people are in the state that they're in. She'd be like, "What kind of shit is this?"
And we'll move on to the next one. Once again, I'll try to skip through again, make sure I didn't miss any, because I know there are a lot of comments. If I skip you on your super chat, it's not malicious. Thank you for the $5, Nima. Guys, why do you think that? Yeah, this is the comment I responded to earlier. Remember when I mentioned this? Someone asked, why did the DNC let these people win, not Nina Turner? Nina Turner, with her, and we all know she's weak, right? But the Democratic Party is so sensitive. That whole Joe Biden eating a bowl of shit and her comments about Hillary Clinton, that was enough for them to cut her off. And we know she's not strong enough as we want, but the Democrats established like, no, none of that. None of that. Even though she's fallen lines. And the embarrassing thing for Nina, despite how the Democratic Party treat her, she's still a loyal foot soldier.
That don't make
So I will
sense.
admit, despite all criticism of Nina Turner, they 100% didn't want her to win. I think I don't think there was a conspiracy to help her win. It's obviously they didn't want her to win, but not because she would challenge the establishment. I think it's because of personal grudge. She challenged.
Yeah, that's what exactly what
and
it
she
is.
said that voting like Joe Biden's like eating a bowl of shit. You don't have to be a radical to piss these people off. That is my honest take. I will let's see what you guys think about it. But anyway, thank you for the $2, Metal King. I'll just spotlight this here soon, and I'll pass it to you, CJ. He said, don't forget about the Palestinian Jews. Once again, I remember I watched a segment that Richard Metters did a long time ago. Once again, big shout out to him and Norman Finstein. I heard Katie Halper talk about this as well. I did not come up with this talking point, but the whole idea is like if it's not a religious war. The far right Zionists and the liberal establishment repeats this fallacy. The far right repeat this fallacy where the Jews stand with Israel, and the people who are against Israel are the Muslims and their sympathizers, and that creates a religious war element that made people turn their critical thinking skills off. This has nothing to do with religion, because when you look at the region, people, despite their religion, is speaking out against Israel. Like Palestinian Jews, for example, like the large Christian population of Palestinians in northern Africa as well. Like these are things that that the mainstream media leaves on, Zionism leaves off. So I'll pass to CJ. We can move on to the
absolutely.
Absolutely. I'll give you time to pull the video if you want, but
yeah, I can pull up the video. So let's do our announcement in between segments. So join us Substack if you want to get notifications of when we go live or clips. So if you're watching this on replay and wish you had got notifications, join our Substack and you will. Also subscribe. We're trying to hit RBN or get us to 30,000. RBN is for Revolutionary Blackout Network for those that are brand new. So when you hear us say RBN, that is what we mean. Also, like this stream, last time I checked, we were at 511 likes. Can we push to 575? 575 likes. That's about 60 or so more likes. And we're gonna, so right now we're gonna go to the Matt Gaetz embarrasses TYT and Cenk story. And then Nick, after that, I'll just go over your video with Jimmy Dore by myself. Yeah. I can just cover that. I mean, you were there. You don't have to, you don't have to, I can cover it.
Yeah, I just gotta keep it short today because I had I don't want to spoil the privacy.
Yeah, you gotta keep it short. You gotta keep it short. Yeah.
No, so,
all right, so go ahead.
I preface by saying this. I was wrong in our initial coverage. I want to admit that, because I assumed when TYT was going to have Matt Gaetz on, that it was going to, they wouldn't do it for the publicity. They don't really want to have a hard conversation. I admit I was wrong on that. TYT, and we're going to break this down because I know you got some thoughts on this. And because they said what they said for a reason, I think they were trying to play nice, but they was willing to go low if they had to. TYT decided to bring the fight to Matt Gaetz, and it did not go well for TYT to say the least. And I have ripped Matt Gaetz so many times, someone deeply unserious. That's why I was shocked, because when I clicked this video that we about to show you, I was thinking like this could go 50-50. Like this could be TYT owning Matt Gaetz. This could be Matt Gaetz owning too. So I promise to God I entered this with a 100% neutral point of view. And when you show the video and leave a comment, I love to see what our community thinks. When I watch this clip, this is Matt Gaetz objectively owning these motherfuckers. And imagine how bad you have to be as a communicator to be destroyed by someone like Matt Gaetz.
On your own show.
Matt Gaetz on RBN. Have Matt Gaetz on RBN. Watch me end his career. You guys see what happened to Robbie. You guys see what happened to Destiny. You guys are going to see what happened this Tuesday. You guys see why people don't want to have these conversations with me. He have a conversation with someone in power with a clown ideology, and you get dismantled. But once again, don't take my word for it. If you guys want to put it back at me, that's fun. I would love to see if you guys agree with me. If you guys think TYT won, if you guys think I'm wrong on this, I'm actually interested in seeing what you guys think. But go ahead, CJ. I'll let you introduce the video.
Yeah, I think our buddy Joe put this out. Yeah, Joe, shut the fuck up, shitlib, part 2. He put this out. Cenk and Anna have a live meltdown. So this was a gimmick, in my opinion. This was a gimmick on both ends. He used it as a gimmick for his people, his followers, Matt Gaetz, that is, and then they use it as a gimmick. And this was the product of this gimmick. And I said earlier that I didn't think Cenk was going to bring up the sexual trafficking, and he says the words, but because of the context, to me, you don't bring it up in a serious context. You just kind of throw it out in an argument. What are you going to do this when you're going tit for tat? That's not a serious thing that you're bringing it up. But let's play the video. Let me know when you want to stop. It's 3 minutes and 42 seconds, and it's pure entertainment the entire time.
By the way, Matt, you can tell from your answers, you don't believe it either. It's super obvious you don't believe it.
But yeah, I can tell by your questions, you guys still have no message, because instead of talking about how we're going to actually move the country forward, you guys are still obsessed about the 2020
No,
election.
Matt, I'm not a regular Democrat. I don't care about their messaging.
Are you?
What I care about is if your friend Donald Trump wins in 2024, we might never have another election because he's an obvious pathological liar, doesn't believe in democracy, didn't want to leave even though he lost.
Oh, what the fuck are you doing, Cenk? What are you doing? So, guys, imagine what we would call Matt Gaetz on for. The same with Sam Sitter. You get a spot on MSNBC and you Russiagate. You get Matt Gaetz on, and you can grill him about anything you want, but you immediately go for the most pro shit lib talking point you can possibly find. Everything you call out the MAGA movement for. CJ, can you rewind it just about 10 seconds so you can see the attack that he chooses? So the reason why Cenk lost this exchange to me is because he made a giant mistake. You do not argue a weak point. You had so many advantages over a Republican, but you choose one of the weakest approaches that you can take. And what Matt Gaetz, he get liberal attacks like this all the time. Trump denied the election. Oh my God, Trump is
yeah,
he see this shit all the time. Why not bring something new? You guys see the reaction of Robbie when I was on their show? The reaction of Destiny when I was on the show? I said some shit they never heard before. They was like, Destiny, like, nigga, I didn't know what this. He
no reaction.
Even his own audience was like, bro, even Destiny had nothing to say about that. Cenk went to Matt Gaetz and repeated MSNBC talking points to him as if he haven't heard that before. But anyway, I'll let you chime in and you can continue the video.
No, I'll play the video, then I'll chime in because he says some more. This like is unhinged like the entire time. Let's listen.
Matt, I'm not a regular Democrat. I don't care about their messaging. What I care about is if your friend Donald Trump wins in 2024, we might never have another election because he's an obvious pathological liar.
You said that last time. They keep saying that.
Even though he lost.
Go ahead.
Lost the election, and you know it.
Cenk, the last time you were on the ballot, you got 4% of the vote. So for you,
what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about right now?
So I'll let it play again. I'll be real short. So that's the moment where they get pissed. Matt Gaetz just destroyed you, bro. The reason why, and I'll let it play here. Matt Gaetz actually has a point here because they talking about messaging, right? So Cenk and Anna pretends he doesn't have a point, but he actually does because they talk about messaging. And he said, Cenk, you got 3 or 4% of the vote. So his point is your messaging sucks. And their ego is so large they can't even acknowledge that. So let's play it again. I'll hear you guys. I'll let it play a little bit, but I want to emphasize that point.
But I think it's funny that she says, you know, what does that have to do with what we're talking about here and now? After he just asked a question about Trump, after he just made a comment about Trump, then when he brings up his candidacy now, it's like we're talking about today. Like you ain't talking about today either. You're talking about Trump.
Okay, Matt, if we're going in that direction, listen, you had sex with a 17-year-old, according to allegations.
You see what I mean? This is not asked in a serious context. He got his ego hurt and he lashed out. Okay, let me bring up some sexual trafficking. Like it's not in a real conversation for it, like you're really asking him. So go ahead.
Yeah, he could have nailed him to the wall if he brought like receipts. He did it in a professional way, but he literally blurted that question out. He was so mad. You're a rapist. And that's why he didn't win. It didn't land because you sound desperate. And once again, this is an attack that Matt Gaetz heard all the time. And I probably would bring this up as well, but you gotta be well prepared because you know he's ready for the counter. So,
right.
So once again, I keep interrupting it. Let's play. Let us play. Go back like 15 seconds because this exchange is hilarious. So let's watch the whole exchange again. I'll
last
shut
time you
up.
were on the ballot, you got 4% of the vote. So for you,
So what? What is?
So what? And she chimed in with a better mic, I guess.
the last time you were on the ballot, you got 4% of the vote. So for you,
So what? What does that have to do with anything that we're talking about right now?
Okay, Matt, if we're going in that direction, listen, you had sex with a 17-year-old, according to allegations, and you asked for a pardon. Hold on. You asked for a pardon. You asked for a pardon. Why did you ask for the pardon?
Yeah, why did you ask Trump for a pardon
Why
if you didn't break any laws?
Sleeping with a
I've been
17-year-old.
overwhelmingly reelected. You guys are in some sort of weird struggle session there, and I'm just glad, even though the internet hated you having me on, Cenk, you're getting to see what a congressional victory party looks like, and that's something that might be a novel experience.
Why did you ask for a pardon for having sex with a 17-year-old?
Something that even happened. You're like reading into an anonymous internet conspiracy, and it's really sad because in my district, the voters saw through that. In my state, we're overwhelmed.
Did you ask for the pardon?
That has all been debunked. I've addressed it. President Trump has addressed it. And by the way, you should look at your own comments about women that caused Bernie Sanders to unendorse you. Imagine being so Bernie Sanders that he would.
See, this is why I said, Matt. This is the body. This is the KO. Play it again. Go back like 5. Play that part again.
All right, here we go.
Saw through that. In my state, we're overwhelmed.
Did you ask for the pardon?
That has all been debunked. I've addressed it. President Trump has addressed it. And by the way, you should look at your own comments about women that caused Bernie Sanders to unendorse you. Imagine being so aligned with Bernie Sanders that he would endorse you, but he has to pull his endorsement because the things that you said were so.
Yeah. Well, Matt, see, some people grow up and they change. Others send.
Well, bro, destroyed him. He brought up how he like, bro, your own hero, your boy unendorsed you, bro. And so how can Cenk play the moral high ground after we all know what you said, sir? That we brought up.
This is so terrible.
So
and Cenk is caught off guard because that was completely caught Cenk off guard because he did not think like the candidacy thing would come up. He would say, "Oh, you're not progressive." Oh,
that's why Anna had
all
to
these other things. Yes, but he was not expecting it, so he's completely discombobulated in his mind. You could tell.
Yeah, and that's why Anna had to save him. Matt Gaetz. Body blow was so devastating. Anna had to jump in like twice to save the boy. That was devastating, and that's the point where I was like, "Oh, okay." I was watching this. I was like, "Oh, this can go either way." Even at this point, even after the first blow that Matt Gaetz landed, I'm like, "Okay, TYT can still recover." I was thinking this watching this live. After that, I was like, "All right, it's over. Call it. Wrap it up, ref. Wrap it up." Let's let it play a little bit more.
10 count. All right.
District, the voters saw through that. In my state, we're overwhelmed.
Did you ask for the pardon?
That has all been debunked. I've addressed it. President Trump has addressed it. And by the way, you should look at your own comments about women that caused Bernie Sanders to unendorse you. Imagine being so aligned with Bernie Sanders that he would endorse you, but he has to pull his endorsement because the things that you said were so.
Yeah. Well, Matt, see, some people grow up and they change. Others send their colleagues in Congress nude photos of women that they've slept with today. And are hated by members of their own party, which there are numerous reports about that.
But
I appreciate you coming on to answer our questions.
People who told those lies
Did
are
your
going
father, by any chance, get
They
involved?
were not lies, Matt. You know it.
Dude, it's no wonder you guys don't have the trust of the voters because you guys sit here and just spew this nonsense that isn't relevant to people's lives. We're going to focus on inflation. We're going to focus on the border. We're going to focus on investigations. And the result is we're going to win in 2024. Democracy will be fine, and you guys will still be crying on the young turf.
Did you never answered the question. Did you sleep with a 17?
Absolutely not. That has been totally debunked. And by the way, more women have made accusations against Joe Biden than have made accusations against him.
We talked about that.
See that line wouldn't work on us.
That's a kidney blow. That's a bar. That's like in the kidneys.
See, this is why liberals can't debate, bro. That line doesn't work on us because we didn't vote for Joe Biden, right? So they know that they didn't vote for Joe Biden. So he's like, bro, you a giant fucking hypocrite here. and we can let the video finish. But listen, remember when we initially broke this down, and I was surprised that Matt Gaetz decided to do this. Now you know exactly why Matt Gaetz decided to go on TYT. Matt Gaetz would not take questioning from anyone on the left in the RBN sphere. Anyone, the Combo Cow, Jimmy, anyone that come on, Margaret Kimberly, Black Power Media. Can you imagine Black Power Media, Margaret Kimberly talking to Matt Gaetz? He would never talk to a real leftist. So he's like, he made a business move, a calculation. He's like, if I'm going to have a quote unquote debate with any leftist, it's going to be Cenk Uygur. So he already had these attacks ready. TYT was too cocky. They assumed that they can bring out these shit-lib talking points against him, and he would be stumbled for some reason, even though he gets these questions all the time. They thought he was going to dismantle him, but Matt Gaetz knew Cenk's Oppo research. That's why he decided to do this, and that's like, damn.
They're out of their league with this guy. The guy is a congressman. He's polished by some of the best people that polishes people, and this guy just runs this terrible network, in rants and raves. And he's a bully.
Remember, he thought he can debate Brianna Joy Gray, literally a fucking Harvard lawyer. This guy, he really believes this. He really believed that he's gonna. I'm gonna out debate Brianna fucking Joy Gray. I'm gonna out debate Olayemi, who literally a defense attorney who talk about criminal justice all the time. Like, this guy really believed that he's gonna trick people. I don't know if maybe Eric ego, maybe he know he's going to get clicks by being the guy who just get this ran over. I don't know, but go ahead, CJ.
I think obviously, a online channel getting a guy like this. I think it's because he has the 20 million from Wall Street. I think it make Matt Gaetz feel like, okay, this is a trusted place. I know this guy will only go so far in this interview. So that's what I think. Let's continue. Maybe another minute or so, and it'll be over. So
you should be really proud of that.
Well, okay. My number is 0. You can't even keep Bernie Sanders' endorsement, and Joe Biden doesn't exactly have a clean record himself. So we're pretty happy here in the Sunshine State. One Miami-Dade County, one my district.
You keep repeating
like the House and Senate will flip, and eager to get to Washington to get to work.
Yeah. By the way, there was one difference between us. The Democratic Party did not support me because I am against their corruption. Whereas you kissed the ass of the Republican leaders 24/7, so they were very happy to support you.
You couldn't even hold Bernie. You endorsed you and had to unendorse you. Like, do you think Bernie was
dude, that's a devastating comeback. That's a devastating comeback because Cenk was pretending that the reason why he was rejected is because he's this fierce anti-establishment aggressive fighter. And then Matt was like, bro, even Bernie didn't like you, bro. Don't pretend that he was dancing closely. And the reason why Matt Gaetz bring this up, because as a martial artist, if you see a weakness in your enemy, you keep repeating it. If he can't defend the jab, you keep popping the jab out. He keep going back to it. He's like, bro, I don't see any defense for that. But go ahead, let's continue the video.
And he left you on the side of the road with your 4% of the vote.
Matt, I don't care about my personal career at all. I told Bernie to do that. I actually wanted Bernie to win that election really badly, and I didn't want to get in his way because I care about policies. I care about higher wages. I care about everybody in the country getting health insurance. I care about them getting paid family leave. I care about them getting child tax credit. And what I heard from you tonight is when you guys win, you're not going to do anything about wages. You're going to make sure that people do not get any help in the categories that I just mentioned.
No, wait,
so
the
real evil is Medicaid. To be fair, the real evil in the country is Medicaid.
And now the American people are going to get something in the Republican majority.
She clearly was told not to speak or speak as less as you can because she really didn't chime in much there. Go ahead.
Remember when they released the first advertisement? Nina Turner was announced.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened.
You know what happened. You know what happened. The shit went crazy online. People was like, what? I put the video online. I put the video. Oh, no. You know what? Let me just show it. I'm not going to show the whole video, but let me just show what I put online before the interview. And I tagged all of them, Nick. I tagged Nina Turner, and it was a video where all of them were talking about Matt Gaetz in a way where it was like, wow, you're talking about Matt Gaetz this way, and now you're bringing him on your show, and that may have been the thing that made her say, you know what? Yeah, I'm not fucking with this. Let me just
yeah, that's a good point. Nina said, I'm out. She saw the backlash. I remember we covered this when you announced it. Yeah, they didn't say that Nina Turner was going to be there too, and she said, "Hell no."
Yeah. But this video that I post, and I had tagged them in. Here are some of the quotes that's in the video. They're talking about Matt Gaetz. This is months before they know they're going to have him in as an interview. Nina Turner, one of her quotes is, "He should not be taking a 17-year-old anywhere." John, the one that's on the screen there, he was like, he would totally back another coup, meaning another January 6th coup attempt. He said that about him. He also talks about officials spreading child pornography. All of this for a guy that they're going to have on the show. And I had tweeted this shit out. And I think that may have been the thing. And Jake even said about him, OJ didn't get convicted either because he was saying the guy is guilty. Could you imagine? You're saying the guy is guilty of all these child sexual related crimes. And then you say, come over here. Let's have an interview about the election, you know? And there you saw. So
shame on you, TYT, for making us do this segment. Because when I first did this, when we first talked about this, I was like, why would Matt Gaetz do this? I didn't think you guys would get bodied by Matt Gaetz. Congratulations for being that bad. Because we don't cover Matt Gaetz. I usually don't talk about him because I told you guys he's one of those people who I consider to be unserious. I don't even give him props for him standing up against the Ukraine war because I have so little respect for him and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think they came to that conclusion because they're intelligent thinkers. They're like, oh, let me weigh the geopolitical consequence. I don't think they did that. I think they just went up post Biden and they got the order from the establishment. I explained this before. Their job is to be the rotating villain. So I just want to let you guys know, I have no respect for Matt Gaetz. I don't even think he's an honest actor, even on things we agree with. I think he takes those positions because he's allowed to, right? But to be destroyed by this man, to be destroyed by Matt Gaetz, and what's he? And Matt, anyone in the orbit here is this? Go ahead, go ahead. You got invite. Anyone got invite?
Come on, man.
I'm debating a Republican propagandist on Tuesday about defunding police. I'm always down, but getting destroyed by Matt Gaetz, Jesus Christ, that's all I have to say. We can wrap the statement up here, and I'll probably dip out here soon. I saw that start earlier, but what was your thing? Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the segment is wrapped. We can do super chats and last comments for you, and then I'm gonna cover the Jimmy Dore video. So. Yeah, I'll be watching. Jimmy Dore segment will be coming up, but Nick has to dib out. So Jimmy Dore segment is next. But go ahead, Nick. Any super chats, any comments you see? Any super chats or comments?
This one is this last super chat that I saw popped up that stream. Good way to give me an exit here. Thank you for the 499. Nick, thank you for always speaking up for Palestinians and exposing Zionism. That's something that. And obviously, I guess I'm biased because I'm influenced by the people around me, right? But the black left, black Marxists, and Palestinians, we always stood in solidarity with each other's issues. It's the professional managerial class. It's the boutique left. It's the white left that keep excusing this Zionist shit. If you look at Black Agenda Report, look at Black in Line for Peace, look at Margaret Kimberly, look at how Glenn Ford spoke about Israel, Palestine. The black left always been there for Palestine, but the black left has always been muted. I'm to follow in the traditions of our radical revolutionary leaders of the past and the amazing thinkers that we have now, like Margaret Kimberly and Black Agenda reporting them. So just know it's not just me. I appreciate the comment, but I'm glad to see that this black left is continuing to grow because the black left, the black Marxist left, is anti-war. Like that's a giant part of who we are. And the fact that you guys haven't seen that is because of the fact that black left voices have been suppressed. The only black left voice you see is Simone fucking Sanders, Joanne Reed. Those are the voices you get. So I think that's a good last word for me. I'm gonna take a break tomorrow probably because I'll have a busy weekend. If I do decide to do something, it'll be a surprise. So
it had to be some major news for me to be back tomorrow too. So you're a possibility. Anything possible this weekend, or you're taking a couple of days off?
If anything, I'll probably jump on calling tomorrow. Maybe that or Friday. So I'll watch the next segment. It'll definitely be interesting. It was fun being on Jimmy. Definitely fun. Always fun to just talk shit about the establishment with Jimmy. So I'll be watching next segment. Make sure you guys like and make sure you guys support our Patreon as well. It's really helping us grow, and let's give CJ a treat because CJ been producing a lot of these clips for us, and I see you guys saying that you guys want more of that. The more support we get on Patreon, the more I'm able to feed my family at RBN. The more we're able to do stuff like that. So let's get CJ something. Let's subscribe to Patreon. So appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank you, Nick. And I'm just gonna do this is a short segment. I want to make sure we cover it and clip it later because we did put it as part of the title and the thumbnail. But Nick appeared on the Jimmy Dore show. This is a very, very good segment. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you'll love it. If you've seen it, I'm sure you won't mind watching it again. But let's break down what Nick talks about, what Nick and Jimmy talks about in this video. The title is Oligarchy Wins Big as Democrats Pretend Losses Are Victories.
So I want to talk about this because there's the big election last night, and people were saying that it's saved democracy. I just want to remind people that the U.S. is an oligarchy. It is not a democracy. So if you think you voted last night for corporate Democrats who just gave $85 billion to Nazis in Ukraine and you call that saving democracy, I have to disabuse you of that stupid idea because you don't live in a democracy. Your democracy was stolen from you decades ago.
Jimmy, you know when I really figured it out was when Aaron Mate was here and we watched a clip of the debate between Fetterman and Dr. Oz. And they asked them about minimum wage.
And they both don't want it.
I think John Fetterman said goodnight. And I think Dr. Oz said we're going to start fracking. And somehow that... And I was like, if he was a real doctor, he should have dropped everything to help John Fetterman.
Right then.
Yeah, that's probably why he lost. People are like, you're not a doctor.
If you were a doctor, you'd be helping that stroke victim instead of running against him and
frack that lump on the back of his neck and see
trying to confuse him in public.
Yeah.
So if you voted yesterday, this was your choice. You got to vote for the oligarchy or the oligarchy. That's why it was a tough election.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd do Michael Moore a favor and vote for the oligarchy.
That's right. As a personal favor to Michael Moore. So you got guys like this. This guy, of course, he's in bed with the establishment oligarchy, and he says fascism took a big step backwards last night. Thank you, America. Again.
Oh, really? Does it make up for Elon buying Twitter even?
Again, if fascism is what Mussolini said it was, which is the convergence of the state and corporations to work against the citizen, which is what it is, both parties are 100% fascist. We live in a fascist oligarchy. You don't. So, and here's both parties side with the corporation over voters and workers. Wall Street won another election. The only difference between Democrats and Republicans is the speed at which their knee hits the floor when a donor enters the room, as Ralph Nader said. And so I had to remind him. Now here is Michael Moore. Michael Moore, we critiqued him yesterday. He was just flat out lying to people to get them to vote. And people who were non-voters, his message to non-voters was, please vote as a personal favor to me. He didn't have anything that he could entice them with as policy or, hey, if you vote, this good thing will happen for you. It was just do it as a favor to me because there is no reason to vote.
How surprised are you that they did it? I didn't think he had that many people who do a favor for him.
He says, yesterday we created a blue wall that stopped a red wave. Few were willing to predict that millions of you made it happen, and our democracy lives to see another day. Thank you. So what I said was, you created a blue wall of corporate oppression disguised as one big democracy virtue signal as you stand for 100% corporate-controlled pro-war anti-worker party that is sending $80 billion to Ukraine while denying us healthcare and a living wage. Hooray!
Yeah, but Republicans are worse, sir.
So let me bring in Nick Cruz. Nick, what do you have to say about yesterday's results?
And still undefeated in these elections, Goldman Sachs.
Still undefeated.
And still undefeated in this election. Israel is 100% undefeated. There are progressives, quote unquote, that are celebrating the win of John Fetterman. There wasn't a blue wall. There was a Zionist wall. The progressive movement cannot win without selling out to Zionism in the military-industrial complex. So they are 100% the winners. And despite what the narrative that come from the Republican Party, I want you guys to know Rand Paul is the only Republican senator that voted against Ukraine aid.
I know.
So another win for Zelensky. So thus far, working class, they took another loss. Zelensky is smiling. Israel is smiling. Goldman Sachs is smiling. So Isn't this a grand democracy?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's quite a democracy. As Ryan Knight reminds us, he says big business and the billionaire class win yet another election in the United States and retain full control of the House, Senate, and both corrupt parties who do their bidding. That's very well said. He said, just a reminder that the U.S. elections are not about preserving democracy. They're about preserving the illusion of democracy and keeping the.
I do want to pause it here because there is a point that Nick says, now that I think about it, that I want to make when he speaks here.
To say about yesterday's results.
And still undefeated in these elections, Goldman Sachs.
Still undefeated.
and still undefeated in this election. Israel is 100% undefeated. There are progressives, quote unquote, that are celebrating the win of John Fetterman. There wasn't a blue wall. There was a Zionist wall. The progressive movement cannot win without selling out to Zionism in the military-industrial complex. So
the progressives cannot win without selling out to Zionism in the military-industrial complex. Didn't we just do a segment about the new squad members? And what did we reveal in that segment about new squad members? One after another. Their weak stance, their complete disastrous stance on Israel. And to Nick's point, it seems like progressives can't get elected unless they're willing to sell out Israel. Throw BDS on the bus. We're talking about Nina Turner. Threw BDS under the bus, and they still put up negative ads about her. And then you saw what happened, or most of us saw what happened with Summer Lee. Even though she wasn't even as strong, she just was not as strong as they wanted her to be. She still wants a two-state solution. But the way she sticks up for Palestinians, they feel like she's borderline and she needs to go. But let's continue.
So they are 100% the winners. And despite what the narrative that come from the Republican Party, I want you guys to know Rand Paul is the only Republican senator that voted against Ukraine aid.
I know.
So another win for Zelensky. So thus far, working class, they took another loss. Zelensky is smiling, Israel's smiling, Goldman Sachs is smiling. So isn't this a grand democracy?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's quite a democracy. As Ryan Knight reminds us, he says big business and the billionaire class win yet another election in the United States and retain full control of the House, Senate, and both corrupt parties who do their bidding. That's very well said. He said, just a reminder that the U.S. elections are not about preserving democracy. They're about preserving the illusion of democracy and keeping the people trapped in a corrupt political system that puts corporations over people. That's what Election Day is in America. It's nothing to be celebrated. There should be no celebration today whatsoever. No matter what happens on Tuesday, over 500,000 Americans will not have a place to live. Millions won't have.
I think I've retweeted all of the tweets he's covered so far. I think I literally retweeted. I think it was been 3 so far, and I retweeted all of them.
Access to adequate health care, and over 37 million Americans will still be living in poverty. People like to, so now it's very popular now to say that homeless people the problem is just drug addicts and stupid lefties with their policies that allow drug addicts to camp on. And if they would just get rid of these stupid lefty policies, homeless people would vanish.
That's, by the way, that's just the part that you see a lot.
Yes.
Which is huge.
That's right.
But the other huge part that you don't know about, they have jobs. That's right. 40% of homeless people have jobs. Okay, just so you know. And what I think 20% of children, I think are. Can you look up what percentage of children are homeless in America? I bet it's better. Either 20% of children are 45% are in poverty, or 25% are homeless. We're going to find out. Hey, look this. If you voted for people who closed schools, people who mandated masks, people who mandated shots, people who were who fired the unvaccinated, people who did not apologize for all of the above, then you're the problem. You own and condone everything that happened. We had to do that to fight fascism.
We had to fight fascism. We had to do a little bit of fascism so we could push back against a little bit of fascism. I guess that's our idea, because that is not democracy. That is not democracy. Did you?
This is 1 in every 30 American children goes to sleep without a home of his or her own each year. Approximately 2.5 million children are homeless.
2.5 million children are homeless in the United States. That seems high.
That seems very high.
Yeah.
I know they say 1 out of 5 kids live in poverty, but I cannot stress enough that
this point right here, Nick makes. I'm so happy he made the point or thought to make the point while he was on Jimmy. And let's listen.
The poverty rates in this country is a joke. So according to this country, if you're a single mom with 2 kids and you make $23,000 a year, you are technically out of poverty.
Yeah.
And that's a joke. And 1 out of 5 kids live in poverty despite the culture of low expectations set by capitalists. So imagine what the child poverty rate would be if they actually use real common sense numbers. No one, no matter where they are in this country, can live as a single mom with 2 kids on $23,000 a year. If you have 4 kids, $32,000 a year. These are ridiculous numbers, and the child poverty rate is still high.
Correct.
Now, do you think all these mandates and lockdowns and stuff to fight fascism maybe count as like a homeopathic remedy?
So, I mean, I can't get over how the Democrats are on social media today claiming victory. It's mind-blowing to me that that's just, you guys did it with, just the left fist of the corporate fucking bully.
And that's the segment that didn't make it in today's stream. And maybe tomorrow I'll cover it as a Friday stream, but they're literally acting like losing by 100 instead of losing by 1,000 is a win. Like, it's so bizarre to see videos of people taunting the team that won because they didn't win by a larger number. Very, very weird to this point.
Won yesterday. That's what happened. Control of the U.S. Senate may again be decided in Georgia as the race between Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker heads to a December. That's how corrupt the Democrats are. They can't even beat Herschel Walker.
Oh my God! How are you having a runoff with Herschel Walker?
That's how corrupt. That's how corrupt Hillary Clinton was. She couldn't even beat a game show host. This is how corrupt the Democrats are, and they have to try to lie to you and trick you into thinking that somehow because they're not going to stand up for you economically, but they're not going to stand up for your freedom of speech.
I'm gonna pause and fast forward this to the next section here. So let's listen.
Medicare.
Yeah, and Jimmy and my brother Rome, he's playing on RBN. He said the best outcome for the working class, and not the reason why you would think, is for the Democrats to win, so people can see the Democrats in full control and see the Democrats not do anything for them. What are your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
I 100% agree with that. I was like, I hope that the Democrats win again, so they can't have a scapegoat to blame our lost democracy on. And when people go to vote in 2 years, they'll remember the Democrats have been in complete control of government for 4 years, and my life got worse. Because that's why people voted for Donald Trump, not because they were all of a sudden half the country turned into racists, not because half the country turned into Nazis or white supremacists, but because they voted for Barack Obama twice and their lives got worse. That's why the black and brown people in Wisconsin and Milwaukee wouldn't show up to vote for Hillary Clinton, and they let a guy like Donald Trump win because they voted for Barack Obama and their lives got worse. So that I agree with you. I think it actually would be better off for the country if the Democrats remained in control of government so people could see that there is no difference in the parties except around the edges. Now, there was a difference in the parties around the edges, certainly when it came to COVID. DeSantis actually approached COVID in a sane way where he did follow the science as opposed to the Democrats who pretended to follow the science. What they were following was anything Big Pharma told them. And that's exactly what the Democratic Party did. Now, they're both beholden to Big Pharma, but they're, again, just around the edges and around free speech. Now, somehow free speech has become a right-wing cause where it used to be like people say free. So now they've equated free speech with hate speech. So if you're for free speech, they then say you're for hate speech, which is not, again, that's a sleight of hand. And that's not true because that's all they have to run on. They have to run on, well, we're going to talk about it in another thing about how the Democrats, they didn't run on the economy. They didn't run on a minimum wage. They didn't run on health care. What they ran on was abortion because that's the only thing they had left to run on.
Yeah.
And saving democracy. Go ahead.
Yeah, you brought up Ron DeSantis. Me and my co-host CJ on Revolutionary Blackout, we did a stream covering how neoliberalism enables fascism.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you had Ron DeSantis.
And check that out. It's called how Democrats enable fascism in the Republican Party. So I think we did it last week or maybe a week and a half ago. But go check that stream out. The one that Nick is referring to right here, and let's listen.
My co-host CJ on Revolutionary Blackout, we did a stream covering how neoliberalism enables fascism.
Yes.
So you had Ron DeSantis that pretty much have a stronghold in Florida. You got the right that's begging him to run in 2024, and I personally think he'll do better than Trump at this point because the Democratic Party and liberals created a powerhouse out of Ron DeSantis because of the void they left because they were so horrific on the COVID policies. If they didn't leave that opening for Ron DeSantis,
right.
He doesn't exist. And that just another example of how neoliberalism for the Democratic Party enables the far right.
100%. Somebody just made this point that it's the Democrats neoliberal. Oh, it was the Hulk. What's his name? Mark Ruffalo. He tweeted that out. The Democrats are enabling fascism. So he did a video about it, and he got in big trouble. So he had to run around and do campaign stops for Democrats, saying that they were protecting democracy because he got caught telling the truth about the Democratic Party, and he wants to remain in his perch high above liberal Hollywood. That's exactly why Mark Ruffalo. So here's Jen Psaki, former press secretary, now getting her corporate paycheck over at MSNBC for doing her bidding for the establishment. She says no races have been called yet, and they won't be for a while, but just some facts for your back pocket. Bill Clinton lost 54 House seats in 1994.
Okay, so I'm going to fast forward to this last part where Nick speaks. Oh, wow. Actually, I put it here. Oh, well, I'll go here just so you can see my tweet was put up, and then we'll show my tweet, and then we'll go to Nick's part.
Probably. At least it'd be in the country, I guess.
At least it'd be in our country.
Yeah, some trickle down.
Little trickle down. Oh, here is Compton J makes. He goes, the working class lost every single race this midterm.
Yes.
And that I wanted to instead of showing it the tweet, I'll just play it or show it from the video. The working class lost every single race this midterm. Can you prove that statement wrong? If you could prove that statement wrong, go to Twitter and find that tweet on my page and respond. I'll definitely put it up. I'll definitely retweet it with an answer or reply, but I'm just looking at the winners and I don't see any winners for the working class, especially, I mean, you can't be a winner for the working class within the Democratic Party. You just simply can't. So, all right, so let's now go to, I think Nick chimes in one more time.
So that's my roundup of how the elections went. It doesn't really 100,000% fake.
I shall see where he went to college, but I think he went to elite academia as well.
I think
very well. Yeah, Harvard.
Did he go to University? Did he go to Wharton? Where'd he go?
I see Harvard University.
There you go.
Yeah. So
wow.
And then
this guy is not a worker.
The only job he ever had was as a politician.
They're talking about John Fetterman. Is he a real worker? And then Jimmy Dore was saying, no, that's a costume. What he wears, the hoodie he wears, that's a costume. He's not a worker at all.
He never fucking did anything.
Oh my God, he looks like he has to. They put like a yoke on him, and he has to pull things.
You think he ever? You think he ever worked for tips?
I don't know. I didn't know anything about him. I just saw the.
No.
Sorry about that, everybody. Sorry about that. The appearance on the Jimmy Dore show. I'm sorry. The appearance on the George Galloway show is what I said when I was muted. We covered with our intro video, so I think we're gonna leave that part there. I don't think the little clip that they put up about the separate episode, like his section, they haven't put it up yet, so can't really cover that right now, and that's the reason why I say that. But we're gonna go and pull up our some closing items here. As we close out. If you've made it this far, if you're just joining us and you're like, man, I caught the live stream, but we're about to be ending the stream soon, join our Substack so that you get notifications in the future and you won't miss live streams like the one you're watching now or the one you're just catching at the end. Join our Substack. Also, if you're watching this on replay, join our Substack and you'll get notifications so that you're able to watch these streams live. And generally send them out 30 minutes to 2 hours before we start. Also, on your way out, if you could like the stream, we're currently at 652. Be nice if we can get to 700 before we leave, and we can get to 700 likes before we leave. And the last thing, when we started the stream, we're at 25,052. We'll give you an update tomorrow. If you are brand new, like the episode today, please subscribe. Please share this stream. We do appreciate all the love. We could not have grown so fast without all of your help. And now we're going to leave you with, I love this video, so I'm going to play it again. It is Michael Parenti talking about capitalism cannot be kinder. So let's play this video by Michael Parenti. As our closeout video, please like the stream on your way out. Thank you for joining us. Unless there's some big news, major story, I think we're going to take a day off tomorrow, but Sabby might be streaming her show. So till then, everybody have a great rest of your day.
Thinking of capitalism that it must expand. A no-growth capitalism, as some of our more naive ecologists have argued for, is a contradiction in terms. The reason you invest is to accumulate. And your accumulation of capital has no purpose or meaning unless you can mix it with labor to yet increase your wealth further. And of course, you use large sums of it for personal consumption and for political power and for control of your culture and for that wonderful, good, happy life that you so like. Now, that nature of expansion really affects the nature of, it's an important imperative because it means capitalism also can never stay home. It goes abroad. If you ever saw the film Controlling Interest, there's a corporate president who says, those corporations that stayed regional in New England years ago and decided not to go national, we can't even remember their names. They died. We had to go national. And those of us who are now national know we have to go international. We have to invest abroad. So one of the laws of capitalist motion and development is this inexorable expansion. And that means expansion into an expropriation of the third world. A process that's been going on for about 400 years, perpetrated by the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the Dutch, the Belgians, the French, the English, and most recently, most successfully, most impressively, by the Americans. That is by the ruling classes of these countries, not by the ordinary people. The ordinary people simply paid the costs of empire. The ordinary people simply sent their sons off to die on the plains of India or in the jungles of the Congo or in Latin America, wherever else. But that expropriation of the third world that's been going on for 400 years brings us to another revelation, namely that the third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Most countries are rich. The Philippines are rich. Brazil is rich. Mexico is rich. Chile is rich.